You sounded like Heath Ledger in the Batman movie when you said that.
What? I don't know. I don't
You,
remember.
you don't remember when he goes, and here we go, when he does that whole bit? No.
It's been a while since I've watched any Batman movie.
Right. Okay. This was one of the. This was Dark Knight, I think, with Heath Ledger in, but he did that. He had that quote anyway. And you sounded just like him when you said it. A couple of shout outs. Llama Farmer saying he was first. No, not according to mine. Sophia Wolf was first, I'm afraid. Upass with 7-month streak for subs. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Eskimojo with the gift sub to Mentally as well. Wow, 9 gift subs now. That's awesome.
And
thank you, man.
Vrencia and Leglandia also subbing at tier 1. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
Says, I'm excited for you to let people know I won the giveaway. Oh crap, I forgot to RNG the giveaway. We should do that
Brian,
right now, right?
You had one job.
Let's do that.
You had one job.
Let's do that right now.
Yeah, do you want me to do it? I've got the spreadsheet open. I can do it quite quickly.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, if you already have it open,
okay.
you might as well.
I'll just quickly grab all of the users and then I'll ping you the result.
Cool.
Let me copy that. Let me find.
I totally spaced on the giveaway. I'm glad someone mentioned it in the pre-show, so that way we didn't have to look completely stupid when we actually do it. Now we only look a little stupid.
Right, okay, we've got 250 responses. So let me just set that to 250. Okay. Right,
It's
okay.
actually 249 because on the spreadsheet it breaks the first line. Remember?
Got you. So right, okay. Let me run that now. Yeah. I'd already adjusted for that. Yeah, I had adjusted.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I will paste into the chat so you know which line is the winner when we get to that. So that's line. That's the line number. There we go. I don't know who it is. I will look at it now and I'll grab that.
Yep, I'm looking right now as well.
I've got it.
All right. Wow, this guy put some serious feedback too. A lot of people were writing like paragraphs in here.
Yeah,
like, people,
there's
a lot of feedback.
I think the longest one was like 275 words or something like that. It was pretty long, pretty lengthy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's cool though. Okay.
Yeah, 249 responses. Pretty good.
That is pretty good. All right, so yes, we have our winner then. We'll we'll announce that during the announcement section once we officially start.
Okay, just catching up then. CJT 9000, Slim Thickens, Dixiemech, and Mountain Blocks. Thank you very much for the subs, and Eskimojo. Thank you very much for the gift sub as well. That went to Clavier. So there we go. Thank you very much, guys.
Nice. Thanks, guys. We hope that you are all doing stunningly wonderful today on this beautiful day, or at least it's kind of beautiful out here. And I don't mean beautiful as in like it's sunny and warm. I mean it's like there's a little bit of blue sky poking through, but there's also a lot of overcast clouds, and it's not too warm here. I like it a lot.
It's just dark here.
A lot of variant. I wish I could just. I mean, I guess I could just turn my camera, but I don't want to. But the sky is so magnificent out here right now. There's so many different shades of cloud and sky. It's quite nice.
So what kind of temperatures can I expect when I get out to Seattle next week? Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cool? What's the weather?
Let's find out. So it looks like
it's going to be
it's going to be about the same as it's been lately, which is mid 70s. So definitely not too warm.
Well, yeah, we don't use Fahrenheit here. So okay, so 20. So what do I get? I get that on Wednesday. 24 degrees Celsius, right? Okay, that makes a bit more sense.
It's like warm, but it doesn't bother you.
Yeah, see, 24 degrees Celsius, that's like a hot summer's day in the UK.
Fair enough. We've had a pretty tame summer here. Hasn't really been too many days above like 80 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Doesn't look like it's going to rain at all while I'm there, though. That looks good. It looks like it's going to be fairly dry.
It was raining like an hour ago here. And like all of yesterday.
It's like for the entirety of my trip, this app's telling me I've got 20% chance of rain during the whole trip, which is pretty good.
It's pretty low, yeah.
Yeah.
For Seattle, that's really low. Alright.
Eskimo just says they're just feeling good, giving the gift subs. Oh, that's good.
Warms me heart. Oh, speaking of me heart, when is National Talk Like a Pirate Day? We said we were gonna...
September, right?
I said... Oh, yeah, that was when Huey was still here. I had decided that the following year we were gonna do a show where we talk like pirates on that day.
Well, I mean, feel free. September the 19th is.
September 19th, alright. Don't let me forget, guys. You gotta...
It's a Thursday as well.
I know. I remember I went back then, I checked because I was like, I wonder if it falls on a day where we do a show. And it did. And I said,
know what that means,
it's fate.
Right?
We have to dress up like pirates and talk like pirates that day.
You do know what it means, though, right? Technically, when I do the show, it's Friday for me, so it's actually going to be the 19th of September. So sadly for me, Brian, it won't be Speak Like a Pirate Day anymore.
Well, way to just ruin everything. Fine, Jay can be the voice of reason, and I'll be the mutineer. What's a pirate's favorite letter? I feel like this is a trick question.
Don't fall into it. Don't fall into it.
There's like a trick to it. I remember. I can't remember the joke. Oh yeah, there you go. It's the C. I forgot about that. I knew it's not R.
There is another answer to that as well, which you have to do in a pirate accent, which I'm going to sound really terrible when I do it.
Do it.
Right, okay. I hate being put on the pressure on the spot for this, but the other answer, it'd be P, because it'd be like an R, but it'd be missing a leg.
Oh man, come on! We got to do this for an episode. It's not top clack if we don't look stupid doing it. Come on.
Yeah, that was terrible. I can't do a pirate accent to save my life.
Yeah, that was quite awful. Okay, oops. Ha! Closed the dock on accident. I swear I know what I'm doing. What a weird pre-show we've had already.
I know, we've talked about some random crap. The weather in Seattle. We had Pirate J for 2 minutes.
This is like the worst pre-show of all time.
You've closed the dock down. Nice.
Wait, this username that you sent me? That was...
What?
Was that from the winner?
Yeah, that was the winner. That was the line in the spreadsheet.
Wait, that's not the one I'm seeing. 179, right?
No, 197.
Oh, 197? Oh, my bad. Okay.
I don't know.
Wow, I am so not here right now, apparently.
Brian, do you want to just go and have a nap for an hour, and I'll just do the show, and we'll catch up tomorrow, yeah?
I should just nap on stream.
Just nap on stream. All right, okay, we can do that.
Yeah, easy.
Jay Shuff subscribed at tier 1. That's for 9 months. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate that, dude. Appreciate that a lot.
Heck yes. I guess we could probably. Sorry, go ahead.
Pandas. Yeah, so I'm just reading one of the messages here. It says, and if so, are they really badly looped like people are saying? So I haven't got mine yet. Mine have gone to a UK proxy. They're on the way to me. I'll probably get them when I get back from Seattle. So as soon as I've got them, I'll comment on them. I think, Brian, have you still got some coming in?
I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, yes. That's what Yanbo has told me. But here I am. I haven't received enough for a board yet. I don't know.
So we will have them soon. I mean, they will be Holy Pandas. I think we've agreed. I think the only outstanding question on now is how good is the factory lube job, which I'm seeing varying reports.
I was not aware they were going to attempt to do that. It's a very high risk, high reward kind of scenario, and it seems like for them it might have been a little risky. Okay, that was as good as any time to start the show. So
Sounds good.
We can stop mindlessly rambling because we're probably really boring right now. Everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Top Clack. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I am ya boy Duder, aka Quakums, here with my lovely co-host Jay, as usual. And we have a nice little news doc for you today, as usual, as well. And it's not too heavy, so we've been actually seeing a little bit of a reprieve from all the barraging of interest checks for GMK sets and interest checks for crazy boards coming out. Now things are starting to tame down a little bit. I like it a lot. It makes the show a little bit more manageable.
Absolutely. It does make it a little bit more manageable, and it also means I get plenty of sleep, which is a great thing, because this is the week where I have to work on a Friday. So I only work every other Friday. So 1 week it's good, and 1 week it's not so good. And we tend to get the longer shows.
Well, we were just talking about sleeping on stream anyways, so we should have a napping stream.
I should just have a nap. Yeah, we
could both just take a nap. It'll be great. It'll be great.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, good stuff going on today. We did a giveaway last week. We started a giveaway, opened it up, and we're going to announce the winner in just a moment. It was for a brand new, unopened, fresh from Norway Klippe. Actually, no, they didn't stop in Norway. They came straight from China, I think, these ones.
Yeah, we just said they came straight from the factory.
But they are still closed. The boards, the case itself is still wrapped in plastic and everything. So,
nice.
Yeah, brand new blue 2019 Klippe to give away. Pretty good stuff. We had a little forum up that we asked for some optional feedback, and a lot of people gave feedback, and a lot of people gave a lot of feedback, which is really, really cool. Jay and I are going to go through a little bit later and just kind of check out all that info, see what you guys think. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to look through it, honestly. It's just going to take a while because a lot of people entered.
Yeah. I've been looking through it briefly, like jumping around it and stuff like that. But what I do plan on doing is trying to do a bit of analysis on it when I'm on the flight, because I've got a long flight coming up, as you guys know, to go to Seattle. So while I'm on the flight, I'm just going to download the spreadsheet, and I'm going to have a bit of a play around with it. Give me something to do on the flight, and maybe where we've got some really specific feedback, I might come up with some responses and stuff like that to people as well. So some of you might be getting responses directly back, and others of you might not, so please don't be offended if we don't respond directly to you. But if there's some really good feedback in there and we want to chat more about it, we might hit you up for some more details on the suggestion, or just to confirm we're going to do something, or whatever off the back of it. So yeah
we'll just run through all of them ourselves, and we'll take some notes and try to just get better, just polish things up, try to get things working well. PMSing Chicken just subbing for Twitch Prime for 16 months. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. 16-month streak even. Very nice.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, it's really good.
That is fancy. All right, so I guess we can announce the giveaway winner, right?
Yeah, we could do that first, and we'll roll into the mail call afterwards. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. All right. So why don't you tell us who our winner is, Jay?
Well, we ran the RNG. Brian thought it was number 179, even though I typed 197. But I just want to call that out again. But the winner was row 197, which is Core Xeon. So very well done to Core Xeon. Thank you very much for entering. Thank you very much for the feedback. Brian or I will be in touch in the next day or so to get your contact details. But thank you very much, Core Xeon. You are our winner.
Absolutely. Yep. I'll hit you up if you're not watching now. Hit you up after the show. And we'll get the shipping details figured out. It'll all be grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So aside from that, just the normal stuff. We do have the 24-hour stream still incoming. It's looking like next month, since the rest of this month is pretty much all Seattle meetup-esque stuff, because Jay's flying out here. We should just do a 24-hour stream from the Airbnb.
Oh man,
how bad would that be?
I can't do a 24-hour stream after flying out there for that long. I'm gonna be so knackered. That's just not going to be pleasant for me, man.
Oh, we'll get some coffee in you. It's all good.
We should do a stream for the Airbnb though. We should do so we might want to talk about when we're going to plan on doing the normal weekly stream, because we're going to have to change it a little bit for next week. But we'll talk about that in a second. But the other thing we are going to do is we are going to do at least some sort of mini stream maybe from the Airbnb. So there's quite a few people staying there, so we'll have a few guests and things like that around. But we will have a bit of fun with that as well.
Yeah, it should be pretty awesome. That's the plan, at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like Jay mentioned, we might have to structure things a little bit differently next week just because of when Jay is flying in here and all of our meetup stuff. So, chances are, what it's looking like right now is we are going to do our main show, our main weekly show like this, that's normally on Thursdays like today. We're going to move that to Wednesday for next week. Because that's when Jay will be at my house and we can actually stream together live in person for the first time. And that'll be pretty awesome. And since we'll be in my normal atmosphere and setup, we'll know things will work. Everything's all kind of up in the air at the Airbnb because we don't know how good the internet is. We don't know how stable things are going to be. We don't know, if we're going to have literally every single piece of equipment we need. We're going to try to stream from there and just try to hang out, build streams, maybe try to build some keyboards and just have a good time kind of stream. Probably on either Thursday night or Friday night. We're not entirely sure, but we're figuring things out. So just, look forward to checking stuff like that out if you're into that sort of thing. We'll be posting announcements in the Discord for it.
Yeah, we've got a bit of packed itinerary while I'm over there because there's quite a few people who want to meet and catch up with and things like that. So as soon as we have everything finalised and the approximate times and the dates and when we're going to do stuff, we'll drop it into the announcements channel. But for sure, the weekly stream next week will be on the Wednesday, and I'll probably look very jet lagged and very tired, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. We'll fight through it. That's just how it goes. Next up, also, since we're still doing the subscriber banners for our Twitch server banner, if you have pictures and you're a Twitch subscriber and you have pictures of your keyboard that you want to show off, in the Purple Chat channel in our Discord, make sure you tag me, post that picture. Even if I don't reply to you, chances are that I saved the image and have already put it in the queue. It rotates after the episode every single week, guys. And we give credit in the announcements channel to the person and such. So if you are a Twitch subscriber, make sure you post your picture of your board in the Purple Chat channel. Just one, though. Don't overwhelm me, because a lot of people post pictures. So I try to get one from everyone so we don't have a repeat of the same person in a row or anything. So, bam.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Right. Should we jump into a quick mail call then before we get onto the news doc?
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Mail call. I forgot because I don't have anything. But, of course, you having everything.
I don't have everything. I have a few things.
You have 1, 2, 3... You have, 8 things. That's everything as far as I'm concerned.
I wouldn't say it was everything. But, okay, I'm going to go through a few things. First thing I got this week, which you got last week, actually, is some springs from Mike of Novel Keys. Now, Mike did ask me to do some testing, so I hope Mike's watching. Because I have done some tests on these, so I can't do the fancy graphs that Huey and Harter and everyone else can do, but I do have a force testing machine, and after testing the 55 gram and the 65 gram springs, which is what I have here, they are pretty much on the nose. The variation that I can find is only the biggest difference I found was that the 55 ones, one of them reported at 58, which was the biggest variation. So they seem to be within 2 grams for the vast majority of them, and most of them are on point. So I did 20 of each spring, and they all seemed pretty much on point in terms of the weight. I'd say the biggest variation was one spring was 3 grams heavier on there. So they do seem really consistent. I haven't put them in switches yet or tried them out or anything like that, so I do have to do that. And I haven't got around to testing the actuation points yet either, but I will do that before I fly out to Seattle as well. And I'll probably try and get some reports up on the Clack website as well with a bit of a graph and some tables and stuff, maybe whilst I'm on the flight.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I know a man of interest, like people are saying in chat, Huey, he does have a testing machine, and he was testing them, and I guess people are saying he got pretty far off, I guess. I'm not really sure. I haven't really tested them myself yet. I don't have the equipment like those people to be able to do that. So,
interesting.
We pretty much are forced to defer to people that actually have specialized equipment that can actually work on stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't get the force curve graphs or anything out of the machinery I've got. It's a bit more mechanical than that, but I can get data points and I can create graphs from that and do it manually. It just takes a little bit more work. But of the springs I've tried, they're not massively out of play. They do seem to be within 3 grams on average. But I haven't tried the whole pack of springs, so
Yeah, definitely. People are what? Huey got 75-gram bottom out consistent. Is that on the 65 or the 55?
Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Hang on, wait. Which way around is that? So he's getting bottom out. Wait, hold.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Which is what what we rate springs at generally.
Yeah. 20 grams over. Wow, interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
Wow, 89 grams the highest. Interesting.
Okay. So Mike is saying he's talking to the menu to make sure there wasn't a mistake between actuation and bottom out. So
bottom out.
Yeah, maybe the factory rates them at actuation, which is strange. I don't know why.
How would they know it was?
Exactly. Why would you ever rate based on that? Honestly, like there's not really a reason. As far as like a spring manufacturer is concerned, because there's no reason for them to even care.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well we'll come back to those as soon as we've got some more information. We'll chat with Mike and we'll have a bit of a discussion, see if we can get something up. And I will try the springs out in a board as well and to see what they feel like and what they sound like and all of that kind of stuff too. Moving on to some other things. So some other things that I did get ready for Seattle. I'm going to open a bag, so I apologise for the noise. But I did get a whole bunch of stickers made up with the new Top Pack logo on. So some of these will be in Seattle. So I'll bring these with us. We'll start giving them away whenever we post. Brian and I posting stuff out and things like that as well. And we'll order some more if these goes down well. So yeah, plenty of Top Pack stickers. I've got a whole raft of those, a whole bag of them. So I'll be taking those to Seattle with me. A couple of other things I got in today, yesterday, was 2 things from Tyson. So about 6 months or so ago, I asked Tyson to Cerakote me a couple of boards, and they came back in. One of them was to match my Datsun, one of my cars, which I've had done in this lovely metallic orange, which this has come out really well. This is really, really well. This is my Xent. I'll be building this on stream in a couple of weeks' time, I think, probably after I get back from Seattle now. But this has come out really well. I need to get it next to the car and actually colour match and see how close it's come, but it does look really, really close. So yeah, I'm excited to try that out and build the board up. The other one I got back from him as well was my Royal 66. So this is the punchy board that I got a while back and built on one of my old streams. And this had some damage in shipping from the factory, which was being sandblasted away. And now the case has been recoated in this blue-grey kind of colour, which is really nice. It's very close to the original colour as well. So really happy with those as well. The quality is pretty good. There's some patchiness on the inside of the case. I don't know if that's shown up here, but there's some patchiness here just on the inside. But it is on the inside, and everything on the outside of the case is pretty much perfect. So all looking really good from that perspective. So I got those. I also got my personal Space 65 in. So we built Mike's from Novel Keys on stream the other week. This is my personal one. This has come in as well, so I'll be having that on stream in a couple of weeks' time. And then the final thing that came in this week is, as a lot of you know, I ran a group buy for my board, the J01. I got some rather large packages with all 15 of those in. So I've got 15 PCBs. Well, I think it's 20 PCBs actually. So I've got some spares. And then 15 of the whole new builds have turned up and come in. So this one's a little bit dusty. Need a wipe down. But yeah, 15 of these all on board. And they're all sat at the side of me on the floor as well now. So taking up half of my office space. And that was it.
Nice.
That's everything. That's my mail call for this week.
Yeah, that sounds really awful, man. What an awful group of things to get.
Well, I mean, the big thing with the JO1s is they take up so much space. I can't really show you, but I mean, you can probably just see in the corners like some open boxes down here.
Yeah.
But there's like a whole area that's probably 2 square meters to the side of me that's just full of parts, basically. So yeah, it's a fairly quiet week, but yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We'll survive. You'll survive the drought. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, there's been quite a weeks. There's been busy weeks as well.
Yeah, I will hopefully have stuff for next week, but I don't think I got anything this week, unfortunately. So.
Oh, the other thing I got as well, actually, it turned up yesterday, but I don't have it in the office. GMK Minimal, that turned up as well, so I have that on stream on Sunday because the board I'm going to build it with is here as well.
I
just realised I'm looking at. I don't think it's in the office. Is it here? No, I think it must be downstairs. I don't think I've got it in the office. Normally, I keep all my stuff that's just come on the back pile over there, but it's not here, so it must be downstairs. But yeah.
All right. Well, how about we talk about some news? There's a few things that have happened this week, and some that are pretty interesting. So I'm going to take us over to our news viewer here. And we're going to start out with the Keystone, which is a board we've talked about in the past. This is a series of keyboards from Input Club, designed by Input Club, using some new switch technology that's pretty awesome. And they recently opened this Kickstarter for it, which, we can also call a group buy. It's, kind of interchangeable, I guess. Kickstarter's board is like a platform, if anyone's wondering. But they had a $35,000 goal, and they have already crushed it at almost $130,000. So
yeah, I mean, that's just huge, right?
Yeah, 728 backers already, and that's pretty darn impressive. So, just a little quick info about the Keystone line and why this keyboard is necessarily different from other keyboards. So, for starters, this one comes in two variants. There's a full-size version and a 10 keyless version, and the only layout right now is the US ONZ, very standard TKL and full-size kind of stuff. It uses 3 new switches from Kale that have been designed by Input Club. All 3 of them, they're known as the Silo line of switches. They were previously going by a moniker of Silent Control, Silent Command, and Silent Beam, and that's linear, tactile, and clicky, respectively. They have taken away those monikers a little bit, so it's still the Silo line, but they're making it a little bit easier on new people and just calling them Silent or Silo Linear, Silo Tactile, Silo Clicky, or Silo Beam Spring, I think is what they're calling it.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to replicate Beam Spring in a way. But so you got that, N-key rollover, magnetic Hall effect sensing, which is one of the reasons why it's so awesome. You have per key HD analog control, so you have it's analog, so no matter where you are on the key travel, it senses where you are, and you can actually program it to do different things based on how far down you're typing, which is really cool. Which also,
it's probably worthwhile showing that GIF actually of that.
Oh yeah,
There's
yeah.
The GIF later on that shows that really clearly, isn't there?
There's a couple, yeah. Oh, you mean the lighting one?
Yeah, you've just gone past.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so because of that technology, they're able to implement kind of like an AI system in this keyboard, which is the main reason why it's so freaking interesting. So they do things like adaptive typing. So it actually learns how you type over, I think 10 hours was the estimate time by Hata or something like that. It learns how you type over X amount of time, and it can actually change the actuation point on keys automatically to help you type more efficiently based on how fast or how far you push that key down, which is really awesome. And obviously, as you can see here in this GIF, the farther he presses the key down, the more light builds up in the keyboard. That's another thing you do. Obviously, there's other GIFs that they show off too, like in gaming, the analog controls. This is analog, nothing really new, but it's still pretty new for our community. In the creator kind of spotlight here, it's a lot easier to use analog kind of stuff. But just really, the adaptive typing really kind of took me by surprise. It was something I didn't really think of. And just like the things that you could potentially do with like an analog keyboard like this. So not only they have the adaptive typing, but also stuff like, if you see in this GIF here, based on how hard he presses the key, it's a capital letter or not, which I thought was also a really cool implementation of how you could potentially use this kind of software.
Can you imagine sending an angry email and really bashing on the keys and it automatically comes out caps? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
right?
like you want to type in all caps, you just type harder. Like, how cool is that, right? Or like, maybe you press a key and a third of the way down it inputs one letter, then the second third of the way down it inputs another letter, and then when you bottom out it inputs a final letter or something like that. Like, there's so many things that you can do with this type of technology now. And while I think, a lot of people in our community at least, might see this keyboard and be like, it's not a Korean custom, it doesn't have vintage blacks, and but like, at the end of the day, this is a really, really high level keyboard, and it has so much potential, and the technology, it really is like pretty state of the art for our community.
Yeah, and the other thing on kind of this being like, a kind of like almost like an industry level keyboard that they're bringing out, is that's where all these innovations tend to start to trickle down to, is that whole trickle down economics kind of thing. If Cherry hadn't have done that with the original Cherry switches back in the day, and they hadn't had all their keyboards and everything else that they did, that wouldn't have trickled down to the custom community today. So seeing this up front in a board that's sponsored and supported by someone like Kono, and that's gradually going to filter down to the rest of the community, and we'll start to see more and more different types of PCB and more and more of these types of switches available, hopefully. I know we've had the Gator on opticals and the Wooting One Flare Tech switches for a while, but you don't really tend to see many custom PCBs that support that. And actually getting a board out there that's really popular like this will probably drive the innovation in the custom community as well, I would have thought.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, I think on our last episode, like this is the future of keyboards. It's not the current MX switches that we have that have been used for almost half a century now. Like this is where keyboards are going. So like, even though this keyboard might not be your favorite thing to look at or whatever, like you gotta respect and understand this kind of technology and the potential that this kind of opens up for us.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And the other thing as well is these switches are going to technically be smoother as well, because there's no contact leaves to rub past to compress or anything like that. There's just the spring compression and the slider going up and down. It's there's fewer contact points. There's a lot less contact between the housings and the parts and things like that, because there is no leaf to depress and there's nothing to actually physically grind the stem against to control actuation. So I know trying the Flare Tech switches myself, once you've lubed the sliders on those, they're unbelievably smooth. So there's a lot more advantages to this than just the technology in terms of the control and the compression of the switch.
Yeah, definitely. Just back to a couple of specs. So it is going to be using per key custom RGB lighting and animations. We've seen from previous boards designed by Input Club that they take the RGB lighting pretty seriously, and they tend to have some of the better, smoother RGB transitions and effects. So I definitely appreciate that. Programmable open source firmware, always cool to see that. You'll have options between ABS and double shot PBT shine through caps as well. The prototype weight of this is 1.5 kilograms, which is roughly
pretty hefty.
Roughly 3.3 pounds or so, which is pretty respectable. Not too shabby there. But I'm just so excited to get my hand on this, and hopefully we're gonna get some kind of review sample. Apparently the original prototypes that they're using right now are a little bit more fragile, so they don't want to actually send them out to anyone, but I think they're going to be doing more prototypes, and hopefully we can get our hands on one, because this is something I'm really, really interested in trying. You can still get in on this project now, but the early bird specials are gone, which is a bummer, because the early bird specials were really, really cheap. I'm trying to find them here,
but I think they go quickly, right?
Exactly. The early bird TKL was only $100.
Yeah, I think the full size was only $150, but they've both got 250 backers straight out of the gate.
Yeah, they crossed their goal in like less than 3 hours, and those sold out like almost instantly. But you can still pick them up for not a whole lot more. I think the TKL version, I'm trying to actually find it, but the TKL version, here we go, starts at $149. And then the full-size version starts at $174. So still cheaper than a lot of other mainstream keyboards on the market, and way more feature-rich and high potential.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think I'm going to join this and get one of the TKLs, but with the beam string switches, but forgo the keycaps and just add my own. I think just to make sure we've got one here and try it out. So
definitely.
I'm definitely interested to try this.
You can I think you can add. So you can add the beam switches, I think. So one of the other cool things about this technology is it's really, really easily hot swappable, because you don't have to worry about metal pins or anything. Switches, you just pull them right out and you put new ones in. Really, you don't have to worry about bending pins or anything. It's super, super simple. So I don't know if they're doing it now. I don't. They have the beam spring version at least available here. You can just buy the beam spring switches. So what you do is you buy you buy a keyboard and choose one of the other switches, then you can just add on bead spring switches as well. That way you can try 2 or more types of switches with one order. But I think regardless, after this, they'll probably be selling them individually to buy as well. But yeah, this is really cool to me.
Yeah, I don't think we can get over how important this technology might be for the community in the longer term. I think it genuinely is the future of mechanical keyboard switches, and it will redefine what we do in the long term. I think maybe not in the next 6 months to 12 months, but certainly over the next 2 to 3 years, I think we're going to see an awful lot more of this kind of technology entering the market, and certainly in the custom side of the hobby. This is kind of like the mainstream jump that will get the board out there, and it'll do what potentially Wooting hasn't been able to do. Whilst they've had some successes, they've never been quite as big as the potential would have suggested, and I think that's just due to some of the limitations that they've had. This is kind of going to open those barn doors effectively and release the floodgates effectively. So yeah.
Yep. So hopefully we can check one of these out in the near future. Fingers crossed. Something we might also be able to check out in the near future if we join the group buy is the ISO Avail. That's how it's supposed to be, right? Like it's not some weird pronunciation now that it's a lowercase I, a capital S, and a 0.
Yeah, I think that's just memeing on ISO as a general thing. But yeah, so ISO Avail, and I think that's because the standard comment in a lot of group buy threads is any ISO Avail, or people asking for ISO compatibility within key sets and things like that. But this is a 1-key custom macro pad. I think this was in design originally at the same time as UPass was doing the isolation, which was his ISO single enter key macro pad, which didn't quite get any traction, sadly. But it looks like Simon is picking up from that kind of engagement and running with a little bit. So this is, as you can see, a 1-key macro pad. It does have an 18mm front height, an 8-degree typing angle, which it's not really a typing angle. It's more of a the angle. I say that with bated breath.
I love the spec list here because it really makes it look like a normal keyboard. When you read through the specs, you're like, oh, this is like a nice custom or whatever.
Well, that's exactly it, because we get into it and it's a top-mounted polycarbonate plate for 1 key. Seems a little bit.
Yeah, I laughed so hard when I read this was going to have a top-mounted polycarbonate plate, because like that's so normal right now for like customs to have. That's like what's in right now.
Absolutely, it's like the hot thing, isn't it?
Exactly. So when you transfer like that over to something like this, it's so silly. But like in a good way.
And it's got QMK PCB with in-switch LED and a dedicated reset switch. So there you go, Brian. That's got everything you could possibly need on a keyboard, right?
It's wonderful. It really is. But this isn't the first time we've seen something like this. Obviously, like you were talking about the isolation, and there's another one too, right? The Isotope Any or whatever it's called.
Oh yes. I think.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the first one to hit the market. Has the Isotope Any actually run through group buy, or was that just an interest check?
I'm not sure. I don't think I think this is the first to market. I think if I was aware. I think you press cancelled the Isotope Any.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a target price here, $70, which is
bargain.
It's pretty good. It's for this level of meme. I think it's probably pretty worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it is worth calling out a couple of things. The PCB has been designed by AIO3 along with Simon, and Pona's been involved in the design as well. If you look at the PCB design, you can see all 3 of their logos, and they've got AIO3's A logo, Pona's Ion logo, and then you've got Simon's Illuminati I logo as well. So all 3 of them have definitely been involved in terms of the design of the PCB and everything else. Not that it seems to need much design, if I'm honest, but there it goes. I just think this is a great idea, right? Especially for, and I almost think that this is better for the non-EU market, because we use ISO as our, enter key on devices. You guys have got key sets over there where you've got ISO keys that you don't use.
Oh yeah, I probably have 20 of them just sitting in my drawer next to me that I've never put on anything.
Yeah, so you need to just buy 20 of these and you're set for life, right? You could have, if you've got 26 ISO enter keys, you could have a fully working alphabet of them. You could just lay them all out, 26 of them on your desk, and A, B, C. You could do that.
Well, I got to tell you, Jay, that just sounds really awful. But what doesn't sound awful is the colors of this cup. This was actually offered in 6 different colors: matte black, standard silver, Olivia rose gold. Nice name drop there. Deep red, deep navy, and dark gray. So pretty wide range of colors, and honestly, they look pretty good.
Yeah, they do. It does look really good. Yeah.
Do you think Olivia had to talk him into the rose gold? Do you think they just did it?
No, they were talking with Olivia about it. So it was on the Discord that Pona has, and they were talking with Olivia about it at some point as well. So I think it was kind of like all done in conjunction. They were all talking about it together, and I think that's where it came from. But I think anyone who puts rose gold in things these days just calls it Olivia anyway, because why not? I think the Anzi was the first to do it. They had a specific rose gold color that they called Olivia, and then ever since then, every other board that's done a rose gold color has called it the Olivia or something like that. So yeah, I think it's just standard now.
Yep, I mean, she is the unofficial queen of rose gold.
Of course, yeah. If you search rose gold on any social media platform, it's going to pop up a picture of Olivia, right? At some point,
that's
you're going to find
probably true. Yeah. I like that they kind of round out the interest check thread by saying, yes, we know this project is silly/dumb. It's not for everyone, but we hope it's for you.
Yeah, and I think that's just kind of like a realization that whilst this comes from a bit of a meme idea, it's actually going to be a useful product. People are going to be able to use this. Having a one key macro pad like that can be used for all sorts of different things. You can have tap and hold on it because it's fully GMK compatible. You can have quite a few features on there, and it does use unused keys that people have got lying around in their sets. So there's no reason not to have something like this. I know a lot of people tend to want to use stuff like this as power buttons for the PC. Wake up and sleep buttons for the PC, things like that. But there's 1,001 different things. I intend to get one and have it to control my stream lights and everything else, for example, and stuff like that. I have one button to press and it will just do all the stuff I need to start streaming and everything as well. So
I feel like I need a macro pad that uses all of the ISO compatible keys that I'd never use.
Only if we can get an ANSI one as well.
That's not meme enough though, Jay. There's like no meme value in the ANSI end.
Well, we disagree that ISO's a meme in the first place, so
I think I have more community backing on that than you might. So I don't know. I'm kidding. I don't actually think it's a meme. But let's talk a little bit about the pre-order and group buy details there. So we have 150 units will be available. It will be first come, first serve. The buy is going to remain open for 21 days, but the GBA won't actually launch until likely the last week of July. Everything's kind of pending the I-69 delivery, which is a recent board done by some of these guys. So we don't really have an exact date yet, but it should be open for a month once it does, which is pretty cool. It's going to be ran through Doyo Studios website, which I believe is Senin32. He used to be a very popular online seller, and Doyo is kind of his storefront now.
Yep. Just a slight correction. You did say 21 days earlier. It is 31 days. Did
I say 21?
You did, yeah. It's going to be open for 31 days, though. Yeah.
All right. My apologies then. Says shipping will be 8 months after group buy close. So he actually expands a little bit on that down here, where he says the 8-month estimate is to prevent the usual quote-unquote 4-month estimate timeline that ends up being 8 months anyways. So this is kind of one of those under-promise, over-deliver scenarios that a lot of group buy runners don't do. Basically, a lot of people will get a quote from their factory, oh, it's going to be 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, or 8 weeks, or 12 weeks, and it winds up being a year, or 8 months to 12 months, or something like that. So this is kind of just to put a little bit of padding on that. That way everyone kind of knows it might take a long time, but if it shows up before then, bam, you're a hero. So
yeah,
I need to see more people doing this, just to kind of have a buffer.
Yeah. The other thing as well is, and he does mention this in there. He says the chosen manufacturer is very high end, and he doesn't name drop or anything like that. But I have a few boards that are made from this manufacturer. I built one on stream a couple of weeks ago that might have been in a similar red color. And what I can say is that the manufacturing is top notch from this place. It is a really, really good factory. The quality is exceptional. So yeah, it's definitely something I think will be really just a nice product in the end of the day. And it's not something that's going to have problems with color matching between the top and the bottom pieces or anything like that as well. So really looking forward to it.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, so pay attention to this. We'll do it again once the actual group by thread goes up, which I imagine will be pretty darn soon. This interest check is really rich in information. They seem to have everything laid out the way they want it to, so hopefully that is coming soon. Next up, we have interest check for the GG60 Pro, which is a relatively interesting keyboard that might not interest some of you, but it might interest others. Very, very standard layout, and it kind of has a low-profile integrated plate kind of design, like keyboards in the past we've seen, like the Z70, that kind of style. A lot of people not too into this, but one thing I do like about this is the amount of features they pack in for the price, which is pretty undeniable. So for $139 US, that won't come with switches. You can add switches extra, but it comes with everything else. You get a 7-degree angle case, have an aluminum or brass plate, a PCB, and the PCB is dual mode Bluetooth, which is pretty cool. Hot swap, QMK, Type C, with battery charging indicators, which I thought was pretty cool as well. So I don't know. This is a very entry-level product, I feel like, but it really hits the market with some pretty good value. What do you feel, Jay?
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I was looking through some of the other pictures of this because there is a link to some more renders of the board as well.
Yep.
And it's kind of interesting. It's low profile, but some people like that kind of look. Personally, it's not for me. I prefer a much more high profile case. But I think, as you say, this is a really it's potentially a good entry level board for people who do like that kind of design. And it's got some fun functions on there. Bluetooth 3.0 with a 2-month battery life duration. Dual mode, so you can have it wire or wireless, and you can have the charging when the cable's plugged in. It'll charge the battery for you as well. So there is some interesting parts in there, and it will offer both ANSI and ISO layouts as well. ISO will be a bit later than the ANSI version, but yeah, I think this has got a fair bit of clout behind it. I think it'll be reasonable for, as you say, an entry-level board. I think it's going to be quite popular with newcomers to the community.
Yeah, because I mean, with the specs they're going for here, this kind of pretty much just competes with things like the Poker 3, and it's kind of within that same price range-ish, but it does have quite a few more features. So could be a nice entry-level option to recommend for people, or buy as a present for people. I know a lot of, and I just want to address this right now because I feel like this is a really good product to address this on. As far as Top Clack is concerned, like, we try to cover things that go all throughout the community, whereas I think a lot of people might get the wrong idea and think that we only cover, like, really high-end custom stuff and, like, never anything else. But it's not really the case, because we try to appeal to the vast majority of the community as opposed to just the people that, like to only spend $700 on a keyboard or whatever. So just keep that in mind when we talk about topics like this. There's something out there for everyone, and this could be for a lot of people. Might not be for you in particular. But.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we do things like we built the Gingamon stream the other week and things like that. We do some of the low end stuff as well as some of the high end stuff. It's all about having that right mix for the community, as Brian says. But yeah, I think as you say, Brian, I think this is probably a good entry level board. It is tray mount, but it's the plate that mounts to the bottom of the tray. Rather than the PCB, which is what we usually see. So it's kind of a variation of tray mount from that perspective. But that does mean that it's not going to accept a normal 60% PCB. It is going to have to use its custom PCB rather than accepting a normal standard style PCB.
Yep, definitely. But could be something worth checking out if that's more your thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think if you're a newcomer to the community and you want something that looks fairly robust and you like that low profile kind of look, I think this is not a bad option. Absolutely.
Heck yeah. All right, moving over to some key set news, which there has been quite a bit of this week. A lot of high profile things happening, starting with the interest check for GMK 9009 round 3. So it has been a little while since this has ran. I think back in 2017, about 2 years ago over on Dixiemech, they ran round 2 of 9009. Yep. And then the run before that, I think, was a year earlier at that point. So, we haven't seen it in a little while, but it's a very, very popular set, and it used to go for a lot of money. So I'm glad that they're considering running it again. And it looks like they definitely have a lot of details ironed out this time. And I'm pretty excited for this because I used to own 9009 back when it was new, and then I sold it or I traded it or something, and then I regretted it. So I'm glad this is going to happen again because I didn't want to pay like a lot of money to get it back, but
sure.
But this group buy is a little bit more up my alley anyways, because the kit breakdown is a little bit more to my taste, so I don't have to waste quite as many keys. The basic kind of standard kit here is similar to GMK Minimal, where you have no numpad and no ISO support. I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sorry. But in the base kit. But you do have a fair amount of compatibility otherwise. And I think we can kind of see, judging by the way this kit is and how Minimal was handled and how these are stock colors, I think that we can hit a pretty low price point on this. This could be a $100 base kit set.
I think that's the plan for this one, if I'm honest. I think it is going to be around that sort of figure. I do agree with that. I think there is some other challenges and some considerations around it as well, I think. But I know there's been a lot of consternation around what keys and including, not including, Jan got some significant amount of traffic via his DMs today, I think, as well. So just some thoughts on it. One of my thoughts on it, and I know you said you prefer the breakdown, but it does seem that the trend lately is that key sets seem to want to cater for ANSI TKL, and it seems to be that is the standard now base kit, and anything over and above that isn't wanted in the base kit from a vendor perspective and from a designer perspective, irrespective of anything else. What I would say is I think the obscure kit's quite strong if you're into 40% keyboards. It even does minivan in there as well, which is unusual. So there's quite a fair bit of compatibility in there, as well as the extra B key for those Alice and the Briganti users. The one thing I would call out on the inclusion of ISO in the edition kit, which I completely agree that I can understand why people don't want to put ISO in base kits. I get that. Whether I personally agree with it or not is a different thing. What I would say here is that the fact that it doesn't include the accented enter keys for the ISO, but it does for the numpad enter, it does for the obscure escape keys, and it does it in the base kit for the ANSI enters. That seems to be a glaring omission for me. It's even got the colored modifiers for the escape key in the modern kit as well. So to not have them in that kit for that one key does seem unusual. And I'm not sure I'm keen on that personally. I think that those should be added if nothing else is added.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe that was just an oversight, honestly.
Yeah, I've already mentioned it to Jan. He's looking at it already, so we'll see. Now, I do want to say on this one, the good news for this one, I think, is that the reworked legends look outstandingly good. I don't know what you think to that, Brian, but I think the new legends look really, really good.
Yeah, so it looks like they've kind of centered them horizontally, which is really, really cool.
Yes, so on the horizontal, instead of being towards the top of the key on the for the icons and certainly for the arrow keys as well, they're now going to be centered in the height of the keycap. Not necessarily the center of the keycap, but in terms of the height, they will be centered, which I think looks really good. I think it looks really, really good, to be honest. I'm pretty impressed with how these look out as well as that on the awkward arrows, as they're labeled on here as well. The kind of like the right angled arrows, the vertical line on that has been reduced significantly, which does make it look a lot neater and a lot tidier as well. So I do think the new legends look really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad they're doing the updates on that. Interest check is looking really, really nice. This is going to run on Dixiemech, with a couple different proxies, Daily Clack for Oceania and MyKeyboard.eu for Europe, as well as I Love KB for Asia. So pricing to be decided, but like we were saying, because of the base kit breakdown, it should be pretty cheap, and it'll be cheap from day one, according to Younglad here. There's some amazing renders as usual, but I'm pretty excited for this. This is definitely a must buy for me.
Yeah, well, three quick thoughts from me on this one, just to finish it off then. I think the colorway is amazing. I love it. I've got both the original, and when I say the original, I mean the original Routers board and Round 2. So I think this set's amazing. Love it. Always have done. I think it's one of my favourite GMK sets. The second thing is I'm going to be interested to see what the price is, because the last run, Round 2, had one of the larger, all-extensive, all-inclusive base kits, and it included more keys in that base kit than what's available certainly if you add the standard numbers and addition pack together, there was more keys in the original base kit. So I'll be interested to see what the overall cost differential is. If you wanted to match round 2 with this round, what's the difference in price? Is it going to be if it was $135 last time, is it going to be $175 this time, or what? How's that going to match up? So that's of an interest to me. And then the third thing is, Mike, I saw your post on Novel Pro getting ISO. Thank you very much for that. The last thing I was going to say, sorry, is around the bottom row for this. So one thing we haven't touched on here, and I've just seen people have putting this in chat now.
We haven't forgotten, guys. I promise.
We haven't forgotten. Yeah. We were just commenting on some of the bits first, but this key set does have only a row 5 bottom row, which I think is great because I think row 5 is better. So for those that you don't know, row 4 is kind of like a smooth. As you're coming down the curve of the keycaps, row 4 is a smoother progression to a parallel. Row 5 is a lot more of an aggressive kick at the bottom end of the board. I don't have one to hand with row 5 on to show, but it's more of an aggressive kick at the bottom.
Yeah.
It has R4 in the icon kit. You just said it does, yeah. But the standard base kit is that it's supporting.
Yeah. I also have some right here because I have
you got
I have TA90 on my one of my Kepler configurations. So
if you show the side profile, it's probably the easiest way to see it.
Yeah, so this is the bottom row, and you can see how high the caps go over compared to a row 4 cap there. It's much larger, much taller. The sculpt curves quite a bit as well. Some people are into it, some people not so much. I'm pretty indifferent. I like both row 4 and row 5, so when a set runs with either, I'm pretty cool with it.
Yeah, I vastly prefer row 5. I think too few sets do row 5, so that is one thing I'm really excited about for this. So a couple of thoughts on row 5. To the best of my knowledge, GMK don't have row 5 space bars as yet. They only have row 4. I don't think they've ever done row 5. So row 5 was actually the predetermined standard from all of the OG key sets a long time ago. And they used to use an R4 space bar for that as well. So you kind of had steeper keys and the space bar was kind of flatter. But that was because the curve on the top of the space bar, because it was convex, was in line with the height verticality of the row 5 bottom row keys. So I think this is a great addition. So it is worthwhile bearing that in mind if you like the spacebar. If you do flip spacebar, probably isn't going to work for you because it'd be a massive difference and it'd be really jarring. The only consideration I've got with this is how is R5 going to look on a 40%?
Yeah, that's something to consider. It is worth noting that the modern kit here, which is the kind of icon kit for your modifiers, does feature row 4. So you get two things here. If you're a row 4 user and you don't like row 5, here's your alternative. If you like icon keys instead of the more traditional ones, then this is your kit also. So like Dixie said in here, he wanted to try to bring a new product to market instead of just another rerun, and I think he kind of succeeded in that. Obviously the colorway has been done before, but the way that this particular 909 run is happening is quite a bit different from the previous two. And I'm glad he's really aiming to bring so many options here for this.
Yeah, I would completely agree on that. I think row 5 is I think I'm psyched to see it. I really am, because it is such a nice profile for me. I much prefer it, so I'm really glad to see that. And one of the other things that I really hope happens as well is that these new legends they've got for all of the vertical centered legends, I hope to see those in use in other key sets. I'm hoping that Dixie and Jan are going to be open to other people using those legends with GMK, and I'd like to see them in more sets, especially for the arrow keys. I think they'll look really, really good for the arrow keys.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely looking out for this one. Is there actually a date for this one?
Soon.tm.
Soon.tm. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was for a second, but I think I'm thinking of a different set.
I was talking with a few things about Jan earlier on today, and he did tell me some stuff and told me there was some stuff I could say and some stuff I couldn't say. So I'm not sure what I can and can't say now without going back and checking the conversation.
It's better. It's better to either say nothing or say all of it.
Yeah. I'm going to say nothing. I know what I've said isn't contentious, so I won't say any more than that.
All right, that's fair. So we'll look forward to this. Very, very excited about that. Moving on, we have an interest check for Signature Plastics SA Yuri and DCS ALPS Yuri, which I thought was kind of interesting. A little combo run coming from Tombury here. It is going to be on Drop, formerly Mass Drop. as usual for him. And this is kind of interesting. So if you're into Yuri and you want it SA instead of GMK, this is going to be your opportunity. And if you want DCS ALPS, which we haven't seen in quite some time, we don't see DCS ALPS sets run very often. Alpine Winter, that's true too. Yeah. But as far as like ALPS is concerned, I think Alpine Winter is like the only real DCS ALPS set that has ran in the in a kind of a more custom format. I feel like.
Did we get a DCS version of the Tron themed set? I can't think what it was. Was that Light Cycle, or was that just DSA?
Light Cycle. That was DSA. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I've got a DSA version. I'm not sure if that ran in DCS as well, and I can't recall. But if not, then yeah, Alpine Winter would be the last one.
Yeah. Regardless, it doesn't ever really happen, all things considered. So. Kind of interesting. Always nice to see more ALPS compatible stuff, even though it is a dead switch. But what I mean by that is not that it's bad, but that it's not manufactured anymore. Aside from Matthias, let's be honest, their Matthias ALPS switches are not that good. So a lot of people that are using the more vintage ALPS that actually are pretty awesome can actually get a little bit more custom of a set going on. So that's always nice to see. But yeah, if you're more just an SA kind of guy and you're on your MX switches, then you got all these Yuri kits.
Yeah, Yuri's quite nice anyway, so I'm psyched to see this run again. It's one of the GMK sets that I'm sad I don't have, and I did used to have it, and I didn't like it when I had it, but now I don't have it. I really like it, so it's one of the sets that's kind of on my hunt down list again. It's one of the very few GMK sets I don't have anymore, which is really sad. So I'm glad to see this one again. And in ALPS, one thing that I love and I don't have enough boards of in my collection is ALPS. So it'd be really nice to be able to get some more ALPS keycap sets as well. And there's plenty of compatibility in that ALPS kit as well. So the ALPS kit was updated today as well. So I know there was some talk about it maybe not making it into production, but it has been updated today, so it's back on track now. It does include ISO as well, which is great, because not all ALPS key sets do as well. So I'm glad to see that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't really have much more information aside from just the kit breakdown, which is already here. Just says it's scheduled for autumn on drop, so a few more months out. But should be pretty awesome if you're into Yuri. GMK Yuri is actually, I think, a really, really good set. And it was one of the sets I regretted not getting the most when I saw it at a Seattle meetup a while back. Someone had Yuri with the Cyrillic Mono Legends, and I was like, oh man. That is that is so clean. It's so good. So pretty happy to see that here as well.
Sad I sold them. So
you sold something?
Wow. Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but I do occasionally sell some. I go through this kind of like cycle, and we had the question a little bit here, but I do go through this cycle where every 3 or 4 months or so I'll get it into my head that I'm just going to sell everything and have like 2 boards and get rid of the whole rest of the lot of them, and then that never happens. And then 3 months later I'll think the same thing again, and then it just never happens. So maybe one day I'll actually do a bit of a Jay's garage sale and just sell a ton of stuff, but maybe I won't.
Yeah. That would be the talk of the town for that month, I think, if you were just offing like most of your collection.
Man, it would. Do you know the reason why I usually end up not doing it is because it would mean that I'd have to catalog everything, and that just seems like too much work, and it's just easier to not. Which is probably a really bad reason. You
could hire someone to do it for you.
Yeah. Anyone want to fly over to the UK? And
that's the level of collection you have. But anyways, expect this coming soon. Next up, we have an interest check for GMK Future Funk, which I thought was a pretty awesome name.
The name's awesome. I'll give you that.
The name's pretty awesome. The set is interesting. It's a little too colorful for me. I'm trying to find actual renders. Here we go.
Yeah, there's some renders at the bottom.
It's a very colorful set. I don't mind it. I'm not a big fan of how flashy the mods are. I've always kind of thought this way with GMK Penumbra and Oblivion Round 1 and what was the other one? Solarized Dark. Yeah, well, Solarized Dark didn't have that in the base kit, right?
It was a modified pack.
It was a modified pack. Yeah, so like all those colorful alphas, not alphas, but mods, not really my thing, but I get the appeal. I think they look pretty good here, if I do say so myself. I like the theme a lot too, and this desk pad is really intense, but it's pretty fun too.
I think it's not something I would put on my desk, but I do like the design. It's something that you'd kind of want to hang up, and it's maybe better as a poster than a desk mat for me personally, but I do like it. And just turning back to the key set a second, I kind of like the modifiers. I think they're one of the nicer parts of the set. In terms of the alphas, I do think that the white alphas are nicer than the purple alphas. I think they're much nicer, and I think they work better on the key set. When I look at that render of the two boards, I think the one with the white alphas just looks nicer. I don't know if you'd agree, Brian, or if you prefer the other one, but
the white one is my preference as well.
Yeah, so having them as a secondary alpha set misses the mark. I'd probably switch them the other way around, if I'm honest. But other than that, I don't know. It's not a bad set. I think it's all right. I think it's one of those sets that it's either up your street or it's not. It's going to be quite divisive. People are going to like it, or it's going to be a bit meh. I think for me, it definitely falls into that second. But I can completely understand why other people would love it. I completely get by looking at it that some people are going to absolutely think this is one of the nicest sets that's been designed. I can completely understand that by seeing it. It just doesn't quite work for me. But there's clearly a lot of work gone into it, and that poster, the desk pad design that I think would make a great poster is pretty cool. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, I like that the GMK logo is down here. I don't know if that's actually going to be on the desk mat, or this was maybe originally intended to be box art.
Oh yes, yeah.
Not really sure on that. I think it probably works better as box art than it does as a desk mat. It seems a little too intensive for a desk mat, in my opinion. But,
yeah.
But hey, that's just me, maybe. But yeah, a lot of thought has gone into the set and the interest check, and it does look like a nice set, even if it's not for people like us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think this will do well if it gets to.
It'll probably do pretty well. I mean, look at Metropolis. I said the same thing about Metropolis, and Metropolis did.
Oh yeah,
well.
you see, that was another set that I think that's either going to fall into the camp of people who's going to really like it or not like it. I loved Metropolis, but I think that sold 750 base kits. I think Metropolis, something like that.
It crossed 1,000, didn't it?
Did it? Yeah,
I
maybe.
Think it crossed 1,000.
There's so many that have crossed 1,000. I think it kicked off with Bento and all of that.
1,500 says Mike. Wow. Oh, that's what he ordered. Okay, so maybe that was with extras. My bad. But I assume that would still be...
Of Metropolis. Wow.
Yeah. Which is weird, right? Because, like, no disrespect against the Metropolis designers or anything, but, like, it doesn't seem like a really popular GMK set. It's not something that everyone's been talking about, that everyone's trying to get their hands on, right?
Well, I was speaking to my keyboard.eu about Metropolis a while back, and they said it's one of the best performing key sets in the EU that they've ever had, and because the EU community is probably a little bit smaller than what the American community is, even though Europe's kind of the same size as the US and there's kind of like the same number of people, but the community is smaller here, so we tend to get less sales. But the fact that the sales were so high, it was really surprising. But yeah, that's absolutely massive. Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000 base kits sold is incredible, especially from a non-drop group buy.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's one of my favorite sets that's actually run through group buy this year. I think I keep talking about my favorite set, and people keep quoting me on this, but I've got 3 favorite sets depending on how you categorize them. So in terms of interest checks so far, for me, it's GMK Cafe from Langolandia. In terms of key sets that have delivered that I think is the best delivered so far, it's Shoko, which I'm using right now. And in terms of the one that's in group buy that I'm waiting for, it's Metropolis. Those are my 3 hit key sets of the year.
I get, maybe I'm just blind. I not that I dislike Metropolis or anything. I didn't see it getting as large as it actually did.
Yeah, Neflock had it dialed in. So
yeah, it was just like Crown Sigil in chat says, it was weirdly huge, and that's what it feels like to me too. Like, it's a nice set, but I don't think anyone was expecting it to sell 1,000+ units.
Yeah, I think the same about Bento was really nice, but no one expected that.
Exactly. Bento was also an oddly huge set. Maybe.
Yeah, and Minimal as well was over 750, and that's a very plain key set. And I can't think of a key set that's done badly recently. It's like even Hand Debate. That's MOQ now, right? So.
Yeah. Bento and Metropolis both sold on novel keys too, if I'm not mistaken. And
yes,
maybe that helps a lot too, because I think as far as in community vendors go, Novel Keys probably has the largest presence and the largest reach right now. So maybe that can help as well. But people are just buying GMK sets lately.
Yeah, I mean, just the sheer volume of key sets that we saw. I wonder, right, if you added up all of the key sets that have run this year, we've had more key set group buys run in the first 6 months of this year than we probably did in the whole of 2018. We've had more base kits sell in the past 6 months than we probably have in the past 2 years combined. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, Mizu was as well. Dixie saying, yeah. So you've got Mizu, and you've got Metropolis, and you've got Bento, and you've got Minimal, and Nines wasn't far away from hitting 1,000, I don't think, and Waves was over 500. I think Waves was 750 as well. I think something like that. Just sheer numbers of these going through, and that's just when we considered GMK, and there's all the other GMK sets that we've not considered, like Peaches and Cream. And there's a few others.
Dixie like not happy with me because he also has 1,000+ selling base kit GMK sets, and I was just talking about novel keys. I'm sorry, Dixie. I'm sorry. I get it. Like, they have done really, really well. Dixiemech has done really, really well on a lot of GMK sets. I just think that novel keys probably in the eyes of the community is a larger store right now than Dixiemech is.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to comment on the size of stores or anything like that, but I do think that we're in an age of where if the key set design in terms of the colorway is strong, I don't think that many things are going to struggle to hit MOQ. If we can have stuff like Handabite, which is really, polarizing, and that's still getting to 150 MOQ, then why would anything fail to hit MOQ these days?
Yeah, it just seems like people are in the market for GMK sets right now, and they have the money to spare. Well, apparently,
I don't think it's just I don't think it's just GMK sets. Look at SA Bliss, for example. That's done really well. I'm sure Dixie will share some numbers. I was looking at them a while back, and it was crazy. It hit MOQ in like 2 days or something like that. So I don't think it's just GMK. I think pretty much everything is. Look at the numbers of people that bought Extended 2048 as well. I think that was 500 sets or something as well. So yeah, I think we're in an age where now the community is that big that key sets, as long as you've got a vendor behind you that's experienced and knows how to do a little bit of marketing, I don't think you're going to struggle to get any of these to sell. And Melodet's saying, didn't Olivia barely pass 250 last year? How many?
Olivia barely made it past MOQ.
Just scraped over the line. Over the line.
Yeah, if we look at Mech Madness that we did in March, Olivia was the most popular set of the entire community. Yeah, the most popular set, and it just barely passed MOQ. And now we have so many sets doubling and tripling and quadrupling MOQ. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I don't know how Olive did, actually. I don't know if I've not seen any numbers on Olive. I don't know if you can share that, Mike, if you're still watching. But I think everything's just hitting thing. It's like other sets that are highly sought after, like Serico, right? That's $600-700 at times on Mech Market, and back when the group buy run, I think it barely hit 350 sets, which I know is more than some sets did back at the time, but that's on Drop, which was the largest vendor at the time. So Olive was ordered at 1K as well, so it wasn't too far behind the other ones as well. Oblivion hit 3K. Yeah, I mean, Massdrop have got much further reach than anywhere else just because of the size of the company, but it's huge numbers. And Oblivion had like 4 base kits, depending on how you counted it. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, getting back to Future Funk, since we're trailing a little bit here, the group buy is scheduled to run February 1st, 2020, over on the Key Company. International vendors still to be decided.
That's quite a way out.
That is quite a way out. Yep.
But it's interesting that it's already been agreed that it will run, and it's already so far out.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to mention that as well. It's interesting, because normally in interest checks, you don't get time frames for when things are going to run. And that seems to be a little bit more of a theme lately, especially with the Key Company, I've noticed. There's another set recently as well that we're going to cover a little bit later in our doc that has the same thing going on. So,
yes,
pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
a couple of things that we didn't mention about the keys, just because we got a little bit off topic, and we got carried away with the other stuff. Just want to call out that some of the support in the base kit is really good. A lot of it's really strong. You've got all of the kind of usual stuff in there as well. Multiple different bottom row options in terms of your key legends as well, which is nice. I'm disappointed to see that the ISO support goes with having dual pipe keys, which doesn't actually appear in any of the ISO languages. No ISO language has pipe key at one side and pipe key at the other side, so that's slightly frustrating because you can end up with two pipe keys on the board, which just looks weird. So my feedback on that would be to change one of them for one of the other ISO variants of that key.
Yeah, what's the reason for doing it this way? Is there actually a reason?
No, well, it depends on which language you're typing in, because ISO covers all of the European languages. So traditionally on ISO UK, the row 4 key that goes by shift would be pipe and backslash, and then at the side of the enter you'd have tilde and hash, or the pound sign, the hashtag sign. Whereas if you then looked at, say, a German board, they would have the pipe and the slash next to the enter, and at the other side they'd have dual chevron arrows pointing in different directions for one of the which gives them the options to have shifted legends and things like that. So it does depend on which region you're in, but having two of the same key just feels a bit jarring visually. So it doesn't matter to me what the legend is on those keys. If you're only going with basic ISO support, just don't make them the same, because it just doesn't look right. And I think a lot of other ISO users would agree.
Gotcha. All right. So let's move on to our next interest check. A lot of GMK interest checks this week. This one is for Cherry Blossom, which is by Decline, I imagine, just for the pun, which is a Cherry Blossom inspired key set that I think looks pretty good. How do you feel about this one, Jay?
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan?
The colors don't work for me, and
I really, really like this pink. I don't like the alpha cap color though.
Oh, see, I like the green of the alphas, and I don't like the pink. I just don't feel like they work together. I don't know. It's just not for me personally. I'm usually quite a fan of pastel, as you say in America, pastel colors, but this one just doesn't quite work for me. I think the kit design, especially the novelties, are really good. I do like those, and I like the theme, and I think it works really well from that perspective. Just for me, I'm not a fan of the colorways together. I don't think the pink and the green go together, and I don't like the darker pink legends on the light pink keycaps either. I think it'd be better to have them white or something else. I'm just not sure it quite works for me.
I'm a little curious at the lack of white in this key set for being a Cherry Blossom, because he even has I guess the only sample picture he has is the kind of matte, but like the actual Cherry Blossom like flower itself is like white and pink, right? Like it's not the flower itself is not green, which I think is really odd to have the key set designed like that. I feel like you need a much brighter color to go with the pink. I love the pink of these mods though. I absolutely love them, but the alpha color just looks too bad for me. It doesn't match with the mods. It doesn't fit the theme when I think of Cherry Blossoms, which is kind of upsetting because I'm a big fan of Japanese Cherry Blossoms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can kind of see the theme of the set. I just think it needs to be just tweaked a little bit to fit it better. I think you're right. There should be more white keys in there, or at least more options. I know there is in the Auto and 40s. There's a couple of keys in there, and there's the space bars as well. And perhaps that's what it needs. Maybe just the white space bars to tie that in for you a little bit better. But I just don't feel like this particular green and this particular pink work together well. I think they just clash a little bit too much for me. And yeah, I can see the inspiration, I can see the story. Just visually, it doesn't quite work for me.
Yeah, I think there is potential here. It's just not being realized.
What I would say is that kind of desk mat design they've got, if you took off the Japanese text on there, then that would be a really, really nice desk mat. I'm not a fan of the Japanese text in the middle, but other than that, I think that would be a really nice desk mat, and I would buy the hell out of that.
Yeah. It's pretty nice, honestly. This is the set that I want to buy, but I really need that alpha color changed. It doesn't really go with the theme here. I don't understand why you wouldn't use white, which is the primary color of cherry blossoms, anywhere on the set.
Maybe that's what it needs. Maybe you just change all the legends to white. I mean, you might have some. You might have to tweak the green and the pink a little bit to get clarity on the legends and stuff. But maybe that's what it needs. Just change the legends to white.
Yeah, like, I know I'm colorblind, but really, this doesn't make sense to me. But I want it to. I like how he says this takes inspiration from the beautiful cherry blossoms around my city, iced tea, and a certain Vectroid album color. So he's calling it GMK Cherry Blossom, but obviously he has other inspirations going into this, and maybe that's affecting the outcome of the color.
For sure.
Yeah, but I hope this gets changed a little bit, because otherwise I would like to buy this. The pink, man. I just love this pink.
Yeah.
Novelties, I'm a little hit or miss on. I don't like most of them.
Oh, no, I think they're cool. I like the novelties. I think they're cool. The mountain ones especially. I think they're really cool.
Yeah. Mountain's good. The Enters, pretty good. The actual cherry blossom flower, pretty good. I don't really understand the 99 cents thing. I feel a little out of the loop.
I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe that's something to do with one of the inspiration pieces. I don't know on that one, but I like the rest of it. I think the cherry blossom enter is kind of nice as well. I'd be interested to see if GMK can actually make that, because that looks maybe a little bit too intricate for GMK to make those that kind of branch image. It might be a little bit too much.
Oh, people are saying for Arizona iced tea. Which is a popular iced tea that you can find all around America, even at like any convenience store, basically. And they all have 99 cent design on them, because that's how much they cost, which is fine. Right. But why on a cherry blossom set that you're calling cherry blossom, why would you have an iced tea design on there? It seems a little convoluted.
Yeah, I don't know, because Tower had the bubble tea novelty keys, didn't it? It had the kind of like the cup with the bubbles and the tea and stuff in it, and the plastic dome lid on there and stuff as well. So Tower kind of did that a little bit. They had that kind of link.
Interesting. Okay. I think what's messing me up most in this set is just the name. If it wasn't named Cherry Blossom, I might feel differently about this set. But when that is the name, I feel like you're supposed to expect something, and I'm not getting what I'm expecting.
Sure, I think that's fair.
Yeah, obviously he's pulling inspiration from multiple very, very different things, and that's fine. But it doesn't really give the key set a theme, which is kind of a bummer. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on it.
Fair enough. Yep, don't disagree.
Interest check looks really good, though. A lot of good information. A lot of good.
It's laid out nicely.
It's laid out nicely. Yep. All right. Let's move on to a little bit of a teaser. This isn't an interest check or a group buy. This is just a little teaser, so we're just going to touch very briefly on it. We don't usually do this, but I know a lot of people would like to talk about it for just a second, just because of how popular it is. This was the Instagram post that went up by Zombumon just a few days ago. Yep, 2 days ago. And this basically solidifies that we know round 2 of Olivia is coming. People have already confirmed it. Novel Keys already confirmed it. So from this picture, we can gather that's coming. I did talk to Olivia a little bit. She said it's going to be coming in the fall, which is pretty cool. So look out.
That's good. Yep.
Look out for that on Novel Keys in the fall. And the picture, obviously, the most obvious thing that we can tell here is that there's going to be a separate kit for, I guess, what you could call monochrome alphas, I guess, where you can have a two-tone set, basically, as opposed to the more original three-tone set. Which I think
Olivia
is pretty cool.
Dark. Yeah, dark mode.
Olivia Dark, there you go. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're not entirely sure how it's going to be ran, and now that Novel Keys had to take off from chat, we can't really ask him, but maybe it'll run as 2 separate base kits. Maybe the original will be the base kit, and this will be kind of an add-on kit for, supplementary alphas.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I think both are definitely possible. We'll have to wait and see. What do you, what do you think about the monochrome version?
Well, I mean, I love Olivia the Keyset. That's why I've got two versions of it. I think that the dark version looks nice, but I think it's then edging into, and I know a few people mentioned this in chat already. It's edging into kind of SA Bliss kind of territory at that point. When we talked about SA Bliss a couple of weeks ago, and I know we kind of played devil's advocate with it a little bit, and we said, is it close to Olivia or is it not? And we both agreed, from a personal perspective, even though we argued both sides of it, that it wasn't anything like Olivia, because Olivia had the white alpha colors with the all of the different things that Olivia has and how it's different. But this, Olivia dark mode does seem to be very, very similar to kind of that SA Bliss kind of look and feel. I think the pink's slightly different because as we talked about before, the colors are quite different. But in terms of the theme, it does feel much more thematically closer to what SA Bliss is than the original Olivia colorway did.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, to me, like SA Bliss, it feels a little bit more pink. Whereas this does not feel pink to me. Rose gold, obviously a metallic color, very hard to translate over to a traditional GMK plastic set that we're used to.
I mean, I'm looking at Olivia at the side. I've got Olivia on the wall just over here, and the colors in the renders. And this could be my screen. I could be pulling at Jessica in, and could be doing that. But I think the coloring and the lighting does change it for me a little bit. Let me just try change it on the other screen. Because it does look slightly different to what it looks like in real life in his render. Even for the original, unless they've tweaked the colors, it may be that they've tweaked the colors for this round. It might not be a match to the original.
That's really high risk. I don't feel like they wouldn't do that just because of how popular the current GMK Olivia is. They're going to sell a lot of units if they keep the colors the same. Also, it is worth noting that the colors on the monochrome version are still the same colors that were used in GMK Olivia round 1, presumably. So as you can see here, the mod colors, that's already what we know as GMK Olivia. They're just spacing that out to also be the alphas here. So it's hard to argue if this is like because of SA Bliss or whatever, because GMK Olivia obviously hit the market way before SA Bliss did. So, like, they're not using colors that they wouldn't otherwise be using in a set anyways. So I don't know. That's kind of my argument against it being
okay. Let's right, hypothetical situation here. Let's play devil's advocate, and I'm not going to tell you what I feel. I'm just going to ask you a hypothetical question here, Brian. Okay.
Sure.
Right. Okay. So say this happened and was happening this year anyway. Okay. And the dark mode Olivia plus, whatever you want to call it, comes out towards the back end of the year, and people buy that, and it all does great and sells thousands of sets because we know it will. Okay. And SA Bliss hadn't happened at that point. And then SA Bliss comes along next summer after Olivia has been delivered, and we've got this dark mode Olivia out there, and people have got that on the keyboards, and then SA Bliss comes along. What would your thoughts be then? Would you think that SA Bliss was then copying Olivia?
No.
You think it'd still be different enough to be different?
I think the colors are different enough. Yes. To me, this still isn't like that much of a pink set, and SA Bliss feels like a pink set to me. I think they're different enough that they can both do whatever they want with the colors they've already established, and just kind of run with it. But that's just me. Could be unpopular opinion. I don't know.
I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here, and I'm asking you leading questions, to generate debate and stuff here. I mean, I'm broadly of the same agreement from a personal perspective. They are very different colors, very different themes. I mean, whether you argue that a rose gold and a pink are kind of similar, I mean, they're different tones, different hues, but they're kind of similar. But
you can't just be like, pink and gray is mine. Like, that's not really how it works. I mean, we've been having this forever in the key set community. Like,
oh, for sure,
this isn't a brand new thing or anything. But no, I think they're different enough.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I know there's a lot of discontented people when certain colorways get mentioned and certain things get run as key set ideas and interest checks, and people say, I own the rights to this, or so and so owns the rights to that, and things like that. But it is worthwhile us talking about these things as well, guys. So we're just trying to generate a little bit of debate for you to try and help you see it from all different perspectives.
It's just rough because I feel like as time goes on, obviously we have more and more colorways being pumped out in the community, that you're going to have some that look similar but are not the same, just by default, because there's only so many colors in the world, and we have so many people pumping out interest checks and group buys for key sets like every single week. It's only a matter of time, and we're rapidly approaching that time where you can put out a key set and it'll look somewhat like another key set. And I don't think it should necessarily be a problem, because at some point we're going to run out of key sets to make if we just think that way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, you know, we're always up against the limits of things like that. And, you know, it does make things difficult. For example, you know, there's some other really popular key sets like Honeywell and things like that. And you struggle to get reruns of that because the owner, and I'll put that in, you know, air quotes, because how do you really own a colorway? And there's different arguments you can have for that as well. But because the owner, say Honeywell, for example, Originative did that in GMK first. It had already been done in SA by 7-bit, and I can't remember who designed it for 7-bit. You know, and there was the difference between the two. But Oko ran those ones, and now Oko doesn't want anyone else to run it, and they aren't running it themselves at the minute. So it does lead to a lot of backlash like that. So I do think we need to sometimes take these similarities with a pinch of salt, and we have to kind of accept that there are going to be some key sets that are going to be similar, but you have to bear in mind that the themes and the ideas behind them are different, and differentiating between them.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, people are going to vote with their wallets.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so that is the GMK Olivia round 2, aka GMK Olivia plus, which is an interesting name as well. So let's move on to another interest check. This is GMK Moondust by Hisui, and this is a pretty interesting looking set with he's got kind of a landing theme behind it, which I kind of scanned through earlier. Pretty interesting looking stuff. How do you feel about this personal colorway, Jay?
I really like this. I do like this a lot. For me, it's a mixture of a few different things for me. Is this one? So one of my favorite key sets of all time is the round 6 key set, which was Violet on Cream, which I know that Heine's doing the GMK version of as well, which has ISO in it, which I'm really happy about. But this is kind of like taking the alphas of Violet on Cream and then putting something. I can't remember what the purple and black key set we had a while ago was. Black Lotus. We're putting the Black Lotus mods with that, and then adding some accent keys in there as well. I'm personally not a fan of the accent keys, but I like the modifiers and the alphas. So get rid of the accent keys and put the standard color keys in there for the mods. And I really like this set. The purple on cream is just really nice. I think it's a really nice aesthetic.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I like the colors. I like the kind of whole theme going on here. This render definitely kind of sells it for me. I feel like it crosses a little bit over to like GMK Violet tendencies, I feel like, in some ways. But again, just like we had talked, you know, stuff like that's just going to happen. This still does look like a different key set, mind you.
Oh, completely. I mean, cream, not white. The purple's different. This will have less what's the word I'm looking for, but the legends will be much easier to read on the modifiers on this set. I think contrast, that's the word I'm looking for. Sorry, it's 3:30 a.m. I'm tired. I think the contrast will be better on the modifiers on this one, just because of the shade of the colors picked. I like the theme behind it. I like it. It's got this whole space kind of theme behind it. I like that a lot. I like the kit names too. Extraterrestrials for the 40s kit, and Asteroids for the Spacebar kit. I'm not sure I get the Asteroids one, but I like the Extraterrestrials for 40s. Yeah. I'm going to call Chris Swires an extraterrestrial now because he uses 40% all the time. But yeah, I think this is just really nice. I do really like it.
Look at this desk mat too. This desk mat's great.
The desk mat's great. The desk mat's fantastic. I love that whole kind of space vector graphic stuff. That's just my kind of stuff. Is that I'm really into all of that.
Yeah.
So I think this is good. I think it's a really strong colorway, really strong key set. You can leave the light modifier purple keys out there. They remind me too much of GMK Taro's alpha color, which I do like, but I just don't like with this set. But give me those dark mods all day long with those cream alphas, and I really like that look. That feel. One interesting thing that I do notice, well, there's a couple of interesting things. So just on the base kit, so I know we talked about ISO before and how we had that little bit of a debate on the using the two different keys rather than having the same legend. You can see here that this is a better proponent of that. So it's got the pipe and the backslash key on the left, and then it's got the tilde and hash key on the right hand side that works for ISO. So that's a much better variation in my view. Even if you're not going to do the regional differences like the UK ISO keys or anything, that's a much better way of doing it. The second thing I was going to mention is what do you think to having the novelties in the base kit?
That's fine. I'm always okay with having novelties in the base kit. I'm not a fan of these novelties, to be totally honest with you. That's probably my biggest gripe with the set. I feel like they're cool and they're very detailed, but they don't necessarily translate to something I want to put on my keyboard. But yeah. I'm also very picky with novelties. I don't like a lot of novelties. A lot of you probably know that about me already. So, obviously take that with a grain of salt. How do you feel about them?
I don't like the alien head face design, whatever that is. It looks like a cat with kind of like prongs off its head, and I'm not a fan of the planetoid looking one either. I do really, really like the whole kind of spacewalking spaceman though. I think that's a really, really good image. I'd like to see that on the desk mat as well. So
I'd like to see that as the box art.
Yeah, maybe on the box art, maybe as the desk mat as well.
Because,
I think that's a really good
image.
But I don't like it on a keycap.
That art is really cool. I just don't think it's really cool on a keycap.
I don't think that you would be able to get that level of detail on a GMK cap either.
Exactly.
There are certain parameters that you can do on a GMK keycap. I think, and I know I mentioned this on the previous set with the Cherry Blossom. I think that will struggle on a GMK.
Some of these very thin lines are like not possible to do with GMK.
Yeah.
GMK already approved the mods. Interesting.
Okay, wow. Interesting.
I cannot wait to see this in person then. Just to see what kind of level of detail they can actually get to, because in the render here it looks really, really intricate.
Yeah. I wonder if it will end up being changed slightly when they get to the actual
Yeah. I wonder if it's like more of like a pre-approval thing. And then once they try it, they'll be like, "Oh, whoops." I hope it's not that. We try to play every angle here on Top Clack. That's kind of what we try to do here. So we're just trying to play devil's advocate a little bit. But if they do approve them and they work out perfectly, big thumbs up to you. Awesome work. Because this level of detail is pretty impressive to see on a GMK cap.
Yeah, absolutely. I think yeah. The only thing, and this is me being really, really selfish, and I get why it's not there, but the only thing I would like to add to this is the UK legend keys, because that would just make it perfect for me. But I think if this runs, I'm likely to buy it anyway, because I really, really like it. I think it's got a lot of potential. And just in terms of that, it does say that the group buy blasts off on February 2020, so we're already another key set that's already 8 months out from now. So we are looking that far ahead, because there's that many GMK sets. The whole of next year is going to be filled up by the time we get to December, I think, because people are just trying to find a decent slot for GMK sets at the minute.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So interesting. Yeah.
And this one's going to be on Canon keys for the US vendor, which is pretty cool. I like seeing more key sets run on Canon keys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good for you, Pass, to run this. Again, I just think this is really great. Really great. The other thing as well I'd like to see is the design right at the very top that looks like it's going to be the bandroll, the case art for the kit. I'd like to see that as a desk mat, but without the Japanese text on there. I think that'd be really nice as well.
What's your problem with Japanese text here? Come on.
Nothing. I just think it detracts from the image. I think if I want it on a desk mat, I want an image. I don't want the text on there. I think on the banderole, great, fine, put it on there. But for desk mat, I just want the image, right? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my keyboard right where that text is.
That's true. Yeah.
Where if I'm just using the desk mat as an image, my keyboard's going to be, I'm going to see all of the image around. So I'm going to have my desk mat, I'm going to have my keyboard here, and then I've got the image going all the way around it because of the way it's laid out. The image is all across the bottom, down the side, and then you've got some details up on the right-hand side where your mouse would be, if you're right-handed. So I think it worked really, really well as a desk mat. If you just took that text out, I think it'd look, just better as a desk mat. Yeah. But absolutely keep the text. I don't have a problem with the text, so I just think it works better without it on a desk mat.
Yeah, but the actual desk mat in this is pretty good. It's simple.
Oh yeah, I like it. I'd like to see more options.
The problem is just like you were mentioning, where you put your keyboard is going to cover up a lot of this stuff. And I feel like that should be taken into consideration a lot more with desk mats, because more and more often lately we're seeing desk mats that have art that will just not be seen.
Yeah, sure.
Which is kind of unfortunate. Like, if you're gonna put art on a desk mat, put it in the places that'll actually be shown off, like for normal users, because normal users are going to use their their keyboard in this portion of the mat right here, and then most people are right-handed, so they'll use their mouse over here. So obviously your mouse is gonna cover up a lot of this area while you're using it, which is fine. It's not as big of a deal. But keyboard, obviously being much larger, is going to cover up this ship, this kind of tail, with the tail that comes off of the ship here and some of the planet. So it's like, I'd like to see more mats take advantage of the space that is actually going to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's exactly why I think that top image is really, really good for a desk mat design, because it has got that, it's got all of the stuff around the edges of the design.
Yeah, you'd actually be able to, like, if you took that text out, you'd be able to see like everything on here.
You'd see the design, right, and your keypad would be in the blackness of the space. It'd just work really well.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. That'd be absolutely perfect. All right, so definitely good luck to Hisui on this one. This is a pretty awesome looking set. I'd definitely be tempted to pick it up myself. Looking forward to February 2020, which is when a lot of sets are coming out, apparently.
I'm going to mark it in my calendar now because I like that set.
Yep, there you go. All right, on to our last news topic of the day. This is an interest check for the Aristotle 2.0 stem by HB Heroin Bob. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this one, Jay?
Yeah, so I was speaking to HB Heroin Bob about this a couple of days ago. He's been really nice and telling me all about this and stuff like that. So effectively, what he's trying to do is recreate the original Aristotle stems. He's got some prototypes that are on the way. He's expecting to get them in the next couple of days. So around the time of the Seattle meetup, around the time of this show next week. And he's going to send some of those out to community members. Fingers crossed I'll be one of those, because he has promised me some at some point. So effectively what he's doing at the minute, he's running an interest check to see if people are interested in these, if the stems do come out successful from his testing. And yeah, so that's it broadly. These are Aristotle stems, which are kind of like an older style stem that's not made anymore. It's been out of production for a long time now. I think at one point people were going nuts over making Zealiostotles, which was a Zealio housing and an Aristotle stem, and I think they were going for significant volumes of money, something like $1 a stem or something at one point for people to get hold of these. So that's pretty much it. He's trying to get to MOQ, which is 25,000 of these. You can do a kind of like a pre-order type thing now for these. Assuming everything goes successfully, if you register on the pre-order form now, you'll get an invoice later on once he puts the order in. But yeah, I think it's a good thing to see. Trying to bring back some of the older stuff that's really nice. And for those that you don't know, Aristotle's are clicky stems, but they don't work in the same way that an MX Blue does. They're quite different.
Yeah. So just a little bit of a backstory for people that might not know what Aristotle stems are. If you're newer to the community, maybe they were all the rage in 2016, maybe 2017. When people were able to find new old stock Aristotle switches, and they're, like Jay mentioned, kind of like they were an MX alternative. It is a clicky switch. The switch itself is actually not very good. Most people don't use them on their own because they really are very bad, and they're also very, very brittle. The housings basically shatter when you try to open them too roughly. But the stem was a very large point of interest for a lot of people, because at the time we had the only clicky switches we had on the market really were MX clickies, and Gateron was popular at that time too. So we had Gateron clickies, MX clickies, then like some other ones that were much less popular that people didn't really use. But none of the clickies were very good. Gateron clickies, not that good. Cherry MX clickies, also not very good. So this was kind of an update to that. What people would do is harvest the stem out of the Aristotle switch, and they would put it in, something like a Gateron or a Zealio or something like that, and you'd have a much smoother, much nicer clicky experience. With that said, it is still effectively a click jacket mechanism here. So this was very popular before the Kale click bar was introduced. Which kind of turned the clicky market on its head, because a lot of people, me included, think that the click bar is just vastly superior to the click jacket mechanism, just because of the final product that you get. So I'm a little interested to see how this is going to go. I feel like Aristotle stems have fallen out of popularity a lot since Kale has introduced the click bar. but
yeah,
we'll see.
I think that's fair. I think the other side to that, though, is that they became increasingly difficult to get hold of as well. You know, I think that a lot of the old stockpiles that some of the stores had of these switches kind of dried up as people bought them a couple of years back, and you just couldn't find them for any reason, and the prices started to go up on Mech Market. And then at the same time as the prices started to go up, the whole click bar switches started to come out, and then that kind of took the demand away. Whether they're better or not is probably up to the individual to decide. I think it depends on what you like in a switch. Personally, I think the click bars are nicer, but I'm still interested to try these because I haven't built a clicky board in a long time. It's a really long time since I built a clicky board. So yeah, maybe I'll have one with these stems in soon because I'm interested to try them.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, as usual. I don't think they're going to be very popular this day and age, and I feel like if you're going to make a Aristotle like clone stem or whatever, why not try to make it even better? Like, why don't we try to actually put some R&D into making a clicky switch that people actually want to use? Because we don't really have that on the community. Like, a lot of people, me included, like the Kale click bar, and I think it is very good, but they're still not like supremely popular. And I think it would be interesting to have just like a really, really, really amazing clicky that people actually want to use.
Yeah, I think from speaking with Heron as well, this is I think hitting the 25,000 isn't going to be an issue from the response he's had so far. I think within the first 24 hours of making the post, he'd had 17,000 of these ordered for the pre-order. So I think there is some interest out there. Whether that's just people wanting to collect or try them out, I don't know. I don't know what the sustainability of these would be like, but yeah, it's one to watch. Interesting to see how it goes, and I'm excited to try them out because I like trying new things.
Yep. Speaking of things that we like, let's talk a little bit about our sponsors. Starting us off, we have Zeal Generation over at zealpc.net/topclack if you'd like to help support us and use our affiliate link. Of course, he has his usual array of switches on hand. You got silent linears, silent tactiles, normal linears, tactiles. He's got you covered, regardless of what you want. Fun fact, since we were just talking about Aristotles, he used to stock Aristotles on his store.
Really?
But no longer. Yeah. Back when they were starting to become more popular, he picked up a bunch of them, I guess. But anyways, yes, lots of great switches over at zealpc.net. We like them a lot. I've been using them a lot. Very, very good stuff. Make sure to use our affiliate link, zealpc.net/topclack, if you do want to help support us. It helps us out immensely, guys. He also has other things, of course, like stabilizers, PCBs, and the like. And more coming soon, hopefully.
Excellent. Yeah. Moving over then, we've got Novel Keys, the wonderful Mike, who was in chat earlier on. Sadly, he had to leave. But Mike's got a number of different things going on. He's got 2 different full GMK group buys going on at the minute. So if either of these does interest you, there is GMK Vaporwave and GMK Dots that you can see scrolling through there on the banner at the top of the page. Both really, really nice sets. As well as that, there's also another GMK add-on kit, which is Zondat's Korean Beige add-on kit, which will work with any of your L9 sets as well. That's still available for a short time too. If switches are more up your street, then there is a Yok Panda pre-order going on at the minute. So if you're interested in those, you can get either the red pandas or the mint pandas. That's still ongoing as well for a short period of time too. And Mike also has a range of other stuff across the store, from Elite CPCBs to his new Father Mech Misty t-shirts, all the desk mats and everything else you've seen. And he also has these wonderful pins. Which he kindly sent me one of last week. So Gator Ron, if you can see that. These little pins are available in the store as well. This is really cute. I'm going to try and find a jacket to put that on my lapel before I go to Seattle. So lots and lots of interesting stuff on Mike's store. So please do feel to go and check them out. And if you do want to use a discount code, we do still have the same discount code. It hasn't been updated for a while, which is Clackers. That's CLACKERS, all one word, and that will get you a small discount.
Heck yeah. These Gatoron pins are so adorable, man.
Yeah, have you got one? Because they are really, really cool.
No, but every time I'm on the site, I open up the page just to look at it. I should just get one.
Yeah. It is really cool. I haven't taken it out of the packet yet. I'm going to take it out now. But yeah, they are really, really cool. They're really highly detailed. Maybe I'll show this off on stream on Sunday when I do a build stream, because it is really, really cool. I feel like that me just showing it here is not going to get the level of detail that's in these off. but they're really, really nice.
Yeah.
Really nice. And there's plushies of this coming soon as well. Mike's just had them shipped, so there is Gator Run plushies coming soon as well. So keep your eye out for them as well.
Nice. All right, moving on. We have Input Club over at Kono.store. You can check out a few different things. They have Night Foxes and White Foxes back in stock if you've been looking for those. The Kira Stealth is still available in Group Buy if you want an all-metal Kira. And the big talk of the town right now, IMO, is the new Keystone analog mechanical keyboard, which is live on Kickstarter. Like we talked about earlier today, this is a really, really epic keyboard with a lot of awesome features that kind of gives our community a lot more potential, and I'm looking forward to it greatly.
Excellent. Okay. Moving over to KBDfans then. So as always, KBDfans have got a number of different things going on site. If you are looking for an entry-level kit or a kit that's easy to put together, or your first build or anything like that, they do have a ton of options out there, from the Tofu range to the KBD67 to all sorts of different things depending on what you want from a board size. Turning over to keycaps, there is a new keycap set that's just gone up for interest check on there as well, so feel free to check this out. We haven't covered this on the news show yet, but this is the ICE 3000 SAT EPBT with CMYK mods as well. That is up for interest check on there as well, so do check that out if you want. We'll talk about that on stream next week because we didn't have it on the interest check this week. We haven't seen that, and so just loaded that up. I don't know if you've seen that, Brian.
No, I didn't. I'm not sure how I missed that. But no. So wait. This has been an interest check before.
Oh,
right?
I don't remember talking about it.
I think we covered it when it was on an interest check, like on Geekhack, and I think they're just getting ready to launch it here. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
I don't recall covering it, but either way, we'll talk about it when it gets back into Group Buy as well. So yeah, lots of things to check out on there. There's also all of the other key sets, and there's SP key sets on there that they sell. Not SP key sets, sorry, SA key sets is what I was trying to say. So as I say, KBDfans has all of that good stuff going on as always. So feel free to check them out if there's anything you would like that they sell.
Yep. Last but not least, we have Dixiemech, which you can check out over at dixiemech.com/topclack if you'd like to support us as well. He's got a few things going on right now. The big thing going on is still SA Bliss. So make sure to check this out if SA is your thing. We've been talking a lot about this set lately. And $135, pretty awesome compatibility for the base kit. Like that quite a bit. The set's doing pretty well. Make sure to pick one up for yourself as well if you're into that colorway. Also, the Pelican case Group Buy is still going on right now. There we go, found it. So if you want to maybe get some kind of packaging to help protect your keyboards when you go to, I don't know, meetups, or you travel out of the country or something, or you just like really heavy-duty traveling carrying cases, then this is where you want to be. Lots of different varieties based on what kind of budget you have and what you're looking for. Definitely tons and tons of variety there. And, of course, he has desk mats, as always, which is pretty awesome. He's got all these new ones, the floral ones. Very pretty. So, yeah, make sure to grab a desk mat, maybe join a Pelican Case Group Buy, pick up SA Bliss. You guys know the drill.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. And now it begins our Q&A segment, guys. So if you guys have questions, hopefully we got the right answers. Ideally, in an ideal world, we have the right answers to every question that you can ask us.
I mean, we'll have some answers, whether the right ones or the wrong ones.
We will have some answers.
That's to be debated, but we will have answers. If you have questions, we have answers. We won't shy away from answering any question you might raise. So yeah.
Yeah, well, we're getting there. So yeah, guys, use the @ClockClack tag for your questions. Helps us out immensely. You can see it a lot easier. So we will head over to our Q&A before we wrap up the show.
Boy314 with the first question says, what build on Sunday? So this week I'm doing a KBDfans 19X build for a friend. So DNL, I built one of his boards a while back. He's asked me to build another one for him. So I'll be building that on Sunday. Can't remember what switches he sent me to put in it. I've gone blank off the top of my head, but I will be unboxing GMK Minimal, and I'll put that on the board as well once I finish. We'll use GMK Minimal to show the board off at the end as well, so that will be there too.
Frisco Melt asking, which do you each prefer more for sound? Brass, polycarb, and or gasket plates?
Well, I think The trick to this question is gasket plates, where you can have any material for gasket plates. So you can have a brass plate that's gasketed or anything else otherwise. So I think what you're really talking about is two different things here. There's one is what type of plate do we like for sound, and then second is do we like gasket mount for sound as well. So the biggest reason for me to do gasket mount, because I prefer a firmer typing feel, is to improve sound quality, and that was kind of the idea behind my board, the J01, which is behind me just here. I've got another one just at the side of me as well, but yeah, so I like to use gaskets, and you can kind of tune how you use gaskets in a board to accentuate the sound profile by isolating the plate from the case so you don't get reverberation and ping, and to create certain cavities that will amplify or reduce sound depending on what kind of result you're trying to get to. But you can also use gaskets in a different way, where you can pressurize the plate in certain ways and shapes and forms to increase or decrease the amount of flexibility within the plate material as well itself, rather than top mount where it's screwed at fixed points. You can kind of have some flexibility with that mounting system as well. So I do think if you want to change the sound profile, have a more tweakable sound profile, gasket definitely helps with that. In terms of plate material, I can't remember what you asked us about, but brass or polycarb. I think polycarb sounds nicer than brass. Brass tends to have some ping and reverberation to it. But more than polycarb, my personal preference would be to lean towards carbon fiber, because it does return that slightly stiffer feel. But I do like the sound of polycarb. I genuinely do like the sound of polycarb plates. So yeah, I'd probably pick that over brass. Whereas a year ago, I probably picked brass. So that's something that's changed.
Yeah. Out of those two options, I definitely prefer polycarb over brass. I think the sound is much more interesting. But over the last year, I've kind of been making the transition towards much preferring non-metal plates versus metal plates. So brass, aluminum, and steel I find a little bit more boring still nowadays.
Have you tried anything with carbon fiber in yet, Brian?
Carbon fiber? Yeah, I've tried carbon fiber in numerous builds. I do like carbon fiber as well. I mean, as far as if you're going to call carbon fiber a metal plate, I guess, then carbon fiber is probably my favorite metal plate. I guess you might be able to argue that one way or the other, but
I wouldn't call it a metal.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't usually call it a metal plate either, but some people might have other ideas. But yes, polycarb over brass, but by a large landslide right now, palm is my favorite plate material. And as far as gasket mount or not gasket mount, generally speaking, I will usually prefer the gasket mount. Kind of depends on how it's done, I guess, because there's so many. Gasket mount is kind of a blanket term these days, now that it's kind of exploded into a ton of different implementations. So I think that, generally speaking, though, gasket mount is going to be better than non-gasket mount.
Yeah, it depends on how it's been implemented. There are a lot of different ways of doing it, but yeah, I would tend to agree these days. Depending on how it's done, it would be my preference as well.
Yeah. Melodit asking, I'm sure you talked about it earlier, but did you two join in on the Keystone? We will be. And we will hopefully be getting a prototype, but I doubt we'll get a prototype before the Kickstarter closes, unfortunately. So, but fingers crossed we still get one. But yeah, I'll be joining for a TKO.
Yep, and I'll be joining as well. Yeah, goes without saying, I definitely will try it out. Talisman Solution says GMK 9009 accent coloured shirts today. Is that subliminal messaging to viewers? No, completely by chance.
No, he might think we're smart if we say yes.
No, don't let them know we're smart. Don't let them know we're smart. Play against it, dude. Play against it.
Oh, just feign ignorance. Okay.
Yeah, we've got to play dumb. If
I have no idea what you're talking.
Intelligent, they will expect more of us, Brian, and we don't want to. People expecting more of us, because that's a recipe for disaster.
Totally coincidental. Wink, wink.
Absolutely.
Nudge, nudge. PMSing Chicken. Always a great username, by the way. Asking, what do you think the keyboard community will be like in 5 years? What do you hope it would be like? I hope it'll be more wholesome. It's already very wholesome. I hope it'll take the next step and we'll kind of start to weed out the ideas of elitism and maybe lower the meme quantity a little bit. It's tough because a lot of it is kind of like an age thing. We have so many people in the community that are 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Like, all these people that aren't even, legally adults yet in most places. And they don't understand that when they talk specific ways, it can actually affect how other people interpret not only the products in our community, but also the community as a whole. And I think that when you're talking to a lot of other people, you have to kind of respect and understand our community as a whole and how we should all act. And I feel like if we kind of just took a step back and thought about that a little bit, like if you swap places and we were coming into the community, how would you want people to treat us? How would you want people to interact with us? What would you like to see? And I think that a lot of people in our community right now don't really understand that issue, and they kind of just say whatever they want and act however they want and think there's no penalty for it. And because often there isn't directly one to them, but think about how you want to evolve our community. Our community is growing, and it's growing fast. A lot of new people in, and it's like, treat them with respect, give them knowledge, and just be kind, be good people. And I'm not saying it's a major problem right now, because most people are pretty awesome in this community. It really is an amazingly wholesome community. But there's still pockets around the community that kind of hinder our growth and process as a whole, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, to just build on that, I think the other side of it is I'd like to see more inclusion and less clicks. I think that's one of the things I'd like to see, but I suspect it might go in the other direction. You'll find pockets of the community, and you'll have more pockets doing different things, which is kind of sad in a way. But I suspect that's where it'll go before it then gets so big that it does all kind of come back together. The other thing I think will change is probably, and I might be reaching a little bit. I think the way that we conduct group buys today might not be the same in 5 years' time. I think if you look at how they were 5 years ago, a lot of group buys failed, didn't get past the initial check because they didn't have enough people join. And I think we've got past that now, and pretty much nothing fails to hit MOQ these days. I mean, we have new boards, new key sets, and everything seems to hit MOQ quite easily now. For example, like the Cypher sold out in 30 minutes the other day, which 2 years ago that probably wouldn't have been the case. It would have taken a lot longer, or would have had fewer units or a higher price. And GMK sets, as we talked about earlier on, they all seem to hit MOQ now, even stuff like Handabite, which is really, really polarizing. So I think in terms of the sheer number of products as well, that's going to increase drastically. I suspect we'll see a lot of people move away once we get a lot more confidence in the fact that group buys are going to be successful, and we get this and this builds up over time. I think we'll tend to start seeing a lot of group buys not happen in the way they do now. And what will happen is vendors will probably get some funds together. They'll go out and they will buy something outright, and then they will sell it afterwards. We kind of see that with Oko. They do it. Originative, they kind of do that with their key sets, and they always have done. They've had that business model for a while now. I think that's going to become more prevalent because the hobby will be able to sustain it, and there's not going to be a question around if you buy 1,000 of a GMK set that you've designed, is it going to sell out or not? Because we're seeing that day in, day out with nearly every key set that runs now. So I think the whole process around group buys will start to phase out, and we'll start to just see products ready to ship because people will be ready to invest that kind of money.
Definitely, because that's the whole reason we have group buys, is because our community is so niche that we can't just stock that kind of product by our vendors. A lot of our vendors aren't even full-time, and the ones that are, still aren't exactly rich. Not everyone can front $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 to just be like, here's this product, and I hope it sells well or whatever. So that's the reason we do group buys, is because if we didn't, we almost could never get the really cool stuff that we do at the moment.
Yeah. And great question, by the way. Really, really good question. I like that question a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a great question. I look forward to seeing what happens, because I've been in the community for roughly 5 years now. I think it's around the 5-year mark for me. So it's interesting to see what has changed in that 5 years, and what could change in the next 5 years, because the community right now is very different from how it was 5 years ago. So.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think it's not just the size of the community, but it's the makeup of the community as well. I think the level of people that you've got in there now has changed so significantly that we can see a lot more stuff like that happen. yeah, I just think there's a lot more potential. There's more people out there with different skill sets that can do things like design and CAD and all of that kind of stuff, and it's kind of a bit of a melting pot. So I for one am excited to see where that takes us.
Definitely. On a less serious note, Langlania is asking cake or pie.
Pie.
For me, it's not that simple. I think there's
cake is a lie.
There's some cakes I would rather eat than some pies, and vice versa. So it's too easy for me to just pick one. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick cake.
So I'm gonna try and expand your mind on this one. But pie is something that transcends food for a number of different reasons. One, cake is nearly always sweet. It's never, very rarely savory, and savory cakes are not good. But you can have a pie be your main course and your dessert in the same meal. You can have two pies in the same meal, and it's completely acceptable. A pie is also its own container. If you try and carry, cake around, it gets squished, it gets damaged, it gets battered. But if you've got a nice sturdy pie, like a pork pie or anything else like that, it goes really well. And there is so many different types of pie that you can never get bored of it. So pie is the easy answer on that one for me.
All right, there you go. I'm trying to find ways to just argue this with you, but I can't, so I'm not going to.
I've thought that one through before.
I bow to your vast knowledge and dedication to the pie lifestyle, Jay.
It's funny that Langalandia asked that, because if you ask my wife what my favorite food is, she will say, "Oh, he likes a pie. He loves a pie," and it's true, I do. So it's an easy answer for that one. I don't really have a sweet tooth, to be honest. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Particle Decelerator is asking, will the new Keystone switches be available by themselves? And I do believe that's the plan, but you have to keep in mind these are not normal MX style switches. You need a special PCB to do this, and that's why I think it'll probably be a little while before we see it outside of something like the Keystone lineup. It'll be a ways before we start getting that kind of stuff into the custom community.
Yeah, but having a big board like these Keystone boards with a big vendor behind it like Kona, that's where this stuff starts to trickle down into the community. And over that 5-year question that we got asked earlier on, I think this is one of the things we'll see a lot more of: optical switches with varying grades of pressability, of understanding how far you've actuated a switch. That is going to be the future of keyboards, whether you want it to be or not, right? It doesn't move it to the whole let's only type on touch screens kind of thing that some computing devices are going down. It remains giving you that separate keyboard that a lot of people love. And it's not just us in the community. People like to have a separate keyboard because they like to have input devices, not just input on the device. We're always going to have keyboards. It's never going to move away from that. And that is the future of where they're going to go to, I suspect. You'll always have your rubber domes because they're cheap and easy to manufacture. But in terms of people who want something a little bit more specific and have that kind of specificity in their requirements to have something nice to use, I think that stuff like the Keystone stuff is going to absolutely take off and be massive in 5 years' time. Or I'll be completely wrong and it'll flop. But I don't see that. I think it's just going to be huge.
No, the chances of something like that flopping, it's pretty unlikely. I mean, we can only use this primitive technology that we're using right now for so many decades before we kind of cross that.
Yeah. MK Tyson with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much, dude. Appreciate that, dude. Appreciate it.
No, he converts from a Twitch Prime to a tier 1.
Converted from a Twitch Prime to a tier 1. Oh yeah. I'm just reading it.
That's an OG homie.
Right?
That's an OG homie play right there. Going from something that's free to actually paying for it.
Yeah, you guys are good enough to pay for. Yes. Thank you, man. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Llama Farmer. Looking to solder my first board. Do you have any irons that you recommend? And what else do you need to succeed with the project, like ESD mat or something? Great question. I think as far as irons are concerned, it really depends on what your budget is, for one, and how deep do you plan on going with this? Are you soldering just one board and you're never going to solder anything ever again in your entire life? Or are you going to be soldering boards every month?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the frequency at which you do that should directly, relate to the investment you are willing to put in to something like soldering equipment or other things. You can go on Amazon, get their best-selling, cheap soldering kit. It's like $25 or something like that. It comes with like a solder sucker and a few other things. Really cheap, not a high-quality product, but it'll solder a few boards for you, no problem.
Oh yeah. You'll get through it with one of those cheap ones. Yeah.
Yeah, like the amount of boards you plan to solder, huge difference. If you're going to be soldering 10, 20, 50 boards in your lifetime, then it might be worth investing into something closer to like the $100 range, like the very popular Hako FX888D. That one is very widely regarded in the community as the kind of best value, even though it is a little bit more expensive than a lot of the other cheaper ones you can find on the market right now.
Yeah, I think that and the TS100 that I use are probably the two most recommended ones, because the TS100's really portable and it's easy and cheap. So
yeah,
it depends what you want. But again, if you're going to do soldering, and it might be outside of the hobby that you want to do soldering, you might be in other electronics and things like that, or like I do a lot of soldering on cars as well, ignition switches and all that kind of stuff. There's a ton of soldering to do in cars, so it depends on what you're using it for as well. So yeah. So if you are going to use it more than just for one build, consider buying something a little bit better. If you're just doing one build and nothing else, to be honest, man, the cheapest soldering iron you can buy will probably get you through it just fine. Even though it'll take longer to warm up and heat up, and it won't have all of the features that some of the top end ones do, it will get you through the job just fine.
Yeah. Yep. As far as other equipment, he asks like ESD mat or something. You really don't need that kind of stuff. I mean, most people just solder on a desk mat or on their desk. Some people like to invest in mats. You can get really cheap desk mats or ESD safe stuff on Amazon pretty easily. Other than that, I would say like tweezers. Tweezers are like my most used tool on like every single keyboard build, basically. So I'd say grab a pair of fine tip tweezers or something. Maybe. I mean, if you do plan on getting more into the hobby and building stuff, maybe spend the $18 or $20 for something like this, which is a Nanch driver set that you can get on Amazon as well. That's a pretty good investment.
Yeah, I have a very similar one to the UK version, which is a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
More tools in it, but same sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, I think overall, in terms of equipment and stuff like that, you should scale everything you're getting by how often you're going to use it. Don't drop hundreds of dollars on equipment if you're not planning on putting all of it to use a lot.
Oh, for sure. The only other tool I would recommend that we haven't talked about is a pair of flush cutters, because they are really useful for clipping stabilizers. If you've got anything that needs trimming on the base of the PCB because you've soldered it and you've got a string of solder or something like that, or you've got LEDs on there and you want to clip legs or anything, flush cutters are a really useful tool for getting through all of that as well. Likewise, if you've got PCB mounted switches but you're using a plate mount build and the PCB doesn't support them, you can use these to trim the switches as well. So there's a lot of different uses, so I would recommend, for the sake of $3 or $4, picking up a good pair of flush cutters as well.
Yeah, and they are cheap too. Like the ones you told me are fine. They're like $4 and they work very well.
I've got like 3 or 4 different types, and they range in terms of, these were £3 I think, which is about $4.50 or something like that. These were £9 because I've got nice hard handles rather than the rubber grip ones. So it all varies and depends on what you want, but very useful to have.
Yeah, I would say though, if depending on your region in the world, maybe you have a specific amount of humidity, maybe you get a lot of static electricity in your area, like you walk around, you shock stuff or whatever. Maybe consider getting an electrostatic bracelet, which is pretty cheap also, or you can maybe just have some kind of big metal frame, maybe your desk, maybe your PC case. You could just touch that every now and then during the build, just to make sure you're not discharging too much electricity into the PCB. Generally, it's not too bad. Usually you're relatively safe, but if you're paranoid like I am sometimes, then definitely consider something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
MK Tyson asking you, sorry I missed the mail call, how were the boards I sent you?
Oh yeah, I haven't taken the Exent out to see the car yet to see if it matches, but it's here and it looks great. Really happy with how this one came out. This looks fantastic on both the inside and the outside. I need to see how close it is to the car color that we were trying to achieve, but color itself is great and it looks fantastic. In terms of the Royal 66, the outside of the case is in really good condition. It looks fantastic. The damage that was just here, that was done in the shipping, you can't even see anymore. It's not even visible. There is some slight patchiness on the inside of the case, Tyson. I'm sure you saw that, but it's on the inside, so it doesn't matter. It's not showing up really well in the camera. I can't quite get it to show, but there's kind of some patchiness just around here. But it's all on the inside of the case. There's nothing on the outside of the case. So yeah, looking really good. I'm excited to to build these up at some point.
Yep. KVS is asking, I saw that the Mass Drop Holy Pandas came pre-lubed. How do you properly remove this lube that it comes with?
With difficulty.
It's difficult. I think it's hard to remove 100% of lube. It depends on what kind of lube it is. Like, for instance, Crytox is meant to stay on products. It doesn't dissolve in alcohol or anything. A lot of lubes are like that at that kind of grade. So I would just by hand wipe off as much as you can. Like, even if you're using like a microfiber cloth, maybe some soap and water and stuff, and just one by one by hand, you just clean all of them, let those fully dry, and then maybe take them to the ultrasonic cleaner after that. That would be my recommended course of action. Obviously, that's kind of a time investment, but if you really are trying to take off the most amount of lube, that could be one way to think about it.
Yeah, and the other thing you could do as well is when you're taking off the lube, if you take out the vast majority of it with something fine enough to pick that up and scrape it out, you could also use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol in there as well, which acts as a solvent and might disintegrate some of the lube that's left, depending on what it was made up of. Some lubes are solvent. Some lubes are reducible in a solvent. Some lubes aren't. So it depends entirely on what lube is in there, but that may or may not help. But that's the only other thing you could try if it's if scraping it and cleaning them in ultrasonic isn't quite working.
Yeah, if you don't have enough time or dedication to actually put into removing that via these steps, what you could do is just take a paper towel or something, try to wipe off most of it, and then maybe try to even it out with a brush, because let's be honest, the lube that they use is probably just fine for key switches. A lot of people are like, oh, you gotta have Crytox and Trim Assist, but those lubes are really overkill for switches. Let's be honest.
Oh, for sure.
They really are. Yeah. So whatever lube they use is probably fine. I just hear that they use a little bit too much and it's a little bit inconsistent. But if you use the same lube and you actually just try to maybe even it out and get a more consistent feeling switch, that could be an option for you too. It probably wouldn't require nearly as much work.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question comes from Tech Fresh, and it says, do you think that well-known community members like yourselves should be taking a more visible stance in helping to promote a more positive community? I like to think that we do try and promote a positive community. One of the things that Brian and I always say is that we want people to be nice to each other. We don't tolerate negativity in the Discord server. Wherever we give feedback, we always mean it as constructive. We never mean it as harsh or negative. And I'm sure Brian as well, but I'm always happy to sit down and talk to people where we talked about their things and interest checks and things like that. I think if you read both of our mission statements on the Top Clack website, we both say we're trying to make the community better and we want it to be a nice place to be. If you can think of any suggestions on how we can do more of that, I'm happy to take a look at it, though. I will always do more to try and benefit the community.
Yeah, same. My DMs are always open. We get PMs all the time, people asking us questions and needing help on stuff. We're always there. That's literally a daily occurrence. So it's we're always trying to help people in one way or the other, and how we can better the community. Always trying to help too. That kind of is the way Top Clack is designed. It's ever since we started getting more serious with it 2 years ago, the whole idea was that we wanted to better the community through information, education, and on some extent entertainment as well. But that's kind of the goal. That like Jay said, that is the mission statement. So
yep.
But yeah, definitely. If we're doing something wrong or there's things that you think we should be doing that could be way better than what we're doing now, always feel free to let us know.
Next question comes from Given. He says, Jay, what board are you using today? I heard it earlier in the stream and it sounds great. At the minute, I'm using my Brutal 60 with GMK Choco on it, which... There we go. That is the board I'm currently using. 150 gram switches. I think these are phase switches, if I remember rightly.
150
phase switches. Yeah, 150 gram springs in them. Brutal switches for a brutal board, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about 150 gram? Because I dailied 150 gram for about a week a while back, and it was a little too much for me.
You can tell that there's certain fatigue there after a while. It's nice for short periods. I couldn't game on it or anything like that. Not that I do much gaming these days, but I can't get the cable back in this board now. There we go. So look, but just for short periods of time, it's nice. The reason this is on my desk right now actually is because the wife was using the computer earlier on, and she didn't like the fact that I had the profit. Oh, gosh, nearly. She didn't like the fact that I had the profit on the desk earlier on because it's HHKB layout. If I can grab hold of that. So I had this on the desk earlier on, and she didn't like it because it's different layout that she's not used to. So she grabbed the Brutal 60 because she said it looked prettier.
Well, there you go. Easy peasy. Wide Pasta Kid, which is also a pretty funny name, is asking, what boards are you most excited for right now? For me, it's going to be the upcoming Polaris 60% by AIO3, the upcoming Thermal 60% by Wilbatech. Those are probably my two biggest keyboards to look out for right now. I'm really interested in trying those. What about you, Jay?
Big things I'm waiting for right now that I'm most excited for is probably the JNCE, which is due to come soon.tm. I still don't have my Unicorn. I'm really excited about the IDB 60 as well. I've got the Secret 60 prototype, which I'll be bringing to Seattle. But the IDB 60 is there too. And then I've got my personal board, so the J02, which are the successors to this board. So this is a J01. The successors to this, the J02 and the J03, both those prototypes are in production at the minute. So I'm excited for those coming as well, but they're more personal projects than group-wide things.
Cool. Boston cream pie is a cake. Yeah. Well, it's just like how cheesecake isn't a cake; it's a pie. It's a misnomer. English is a hard language, guys. It's actually just one of the worst languages. Not really. It's pretty difficult. Pluto19 asking, y'all a fan of cream pie? Who isn't?
I like a bit of cream on a pie.
Yeah, fresh cream on pie. There you go. Frisco Mail. We're catching up to all the pie replies when we were talking about pie. This is always how Q&A goes too.
I do notice that Langelandia did say that I was legendary because my soliloquy on pie.
I don't dislike pie. I like lots of pies. I like lots of cakes. I like food. I'm a big man that eats a lot, so I just like food, man. Why is key lime pie a pie and cheesecake is a cake? Because English is a bad language. Yeah.
There's different definitions of cake in the English language.
Yeah. Not. We can talk about that for hours. Let's be honest here. Gio says, please stop Q&A and come play games. So much withdrawal. Maybe after the stream. I still got some stuff I gotta do. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Pom Alice Wen.
That's... Oh yeah, I guess that hasn't happened, huh?
No, not yet, no. Dalsu says, what's a nice 75% to get or upcoming in your guys' opinions? So I like my Singer 75%. I think that's a nice board in the polycarbonate. There's also the Wraith, which is coming from a UK designer, which has a much nicer top row. So instead of the keys being ortho for the top two rows, has got the blockers in the right place, and that's set out really nicely. So I'm really excited for that. Other than that, good 75%. If you want to split 75%, you could look at the VEA.
I know there's some coming out that are pretty good. I know the 7V coming out looks pretty nice.
Yeah. There was that weird one with the enter on the right hand side, wasn't there? I can't remember what that one was called now.
I don't remember either. There's the Primus by Lewis. That's a pretty nice looking one as well. Yeah, I guess those are the kind of some of the upcoming ones. As far as like what to get now, I guess Singa is probably Singa the most popular 75% right now in terms of
KBD 75 is probably the most popular 75%.
There's
the Satisfaction 75 as well. That's again, it depends on whether you want something that's easily available or you just want something that you can camp on Mech Market for, because there's a lot of good 75% options, but a lot of them are difficult to get hold of or haven't been released yet. So even the Singers, you know, you're going to have to camp out on Mech Market for those at the minute, although I think there is the third round running later on this year.
Yep.
If you want something easily accessible, though, the KBD 75 is available right now, as far as I'm aware. I don't think that's ever out of stock.
Yeah, that's always a pretty easy one to get your hand on.
Yeah.
Llama Fama's asking one more. What on earth is lubing? So lubing is where you add some kind of lubrication, generally inside your switches, at different points, depending on how you like the feel. And the end result is that you get a smoother switch, and it tends to have an effect on sound too. It usually dampens the sound a little bit while cleaning it up a lot less reverb, a lot less noise from a lot of the mechanical parts. So yeah, it's been a lot more popular in the community the last few years. It used to be a lot more of a very high level elite kind of technique, but now pretty much everyone lubes their switches. If you've been in the community for more than a few months, or pay someone, yeah, which is there are a lot of people in the market that actually offer lube services. So if you're interested in trying lube switches, pretty easy to find. You can find people around the Mech Market channel of the Top Clack Discord as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Dalsu says, "Nice beard, bro. Thanks, man." I'm
actually gonna trim it up because I've got my full beard going in at the minute. So yeah, I don't know which one he's talking to.
Can you please grow your beard out a little bit?
No, well, so I was. This is why it's long, because I was going to grow it out, right? And it's growing in nice and thick, and I think this is a week's worth of growth at the minute since I last shaved the sides. It's probably, I don't know, 1.5 centimeters long, something like that. But it's getting itchy, and it's too warm at the minute. It's 25 degrees every day in the UK at the minute. It's just too warm, and it's coming off tomorrow probably. Yeah. I can never get past that stage where it starts to go bushy.
I want to see what you're like if it grows out a little bit more.
I will show you some pictures of when I had long hair and a full beard when I see you in Seattle. And when I say long hair, when it used to be down to my shoulders.
Wow. Yeah, I'll definitely clean up a little bit before Seattle. I'm gonna get this ridiculousness down, get a haircut as well.
And yeah, my beard used to be bigger than what yours is now at one point.
Oh, I've definitely gone farther than this, but not like a whole lot farther.
Oh, it was easy. My beard used to be easily double the length of what yours is today.
Damn.
It used to be like proper full on.
I cannot wait to see this picture.
No, I'm not sharing this in public, by the way. This is for your eyes only, Brian. I'm not sharing it.
Nice.
There we go.
Can I keep it by my bed?
I'm not giving it. I'm going to show you on my screen, and then I'm going to take the screen away from you.
No, you just think you're not giving it to me. Just wait and see, my friend. 10 Strong is asking, what makes Keystone switches more appealing than optical switches currently for the hobbyist community's future? Optical switches have been available for a while, but nobody has felt the need to develop specific boards and transfer over to them, let alone create new keycaps specifically for these boards. That's a really good question. That is a really good question. I think what the Keystone represents, and by the way, Keystone is the name of the keyboard itself. That's the line of keyboards. Silo is actually the name of these particular switches. So optical switches have been around for a while, but this actually uses Hall effect sensing, and I think the idea is that we see more of the AI and the potential from the programming side coming out of the Keystone a lot with the adaptive typing or whatever they called it and stuff like that. I don't know why we haven't seen it earlier, honestly. I feel like it could have been pushed harder earlier, but I guess better late than never is what I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think the problems with the other switches that we've seen isn't necessarily with the switches, it's the way that they've been implemented and the lack of availability. So if you take the Wooting, which is probably the closest in terms of features to what we're seeing on these silo switches, there's a couple of challenges with it. The flare tech switches you can't get hold of necessarily easily. You have to put bulk orders in, or certainly last time I tried to look for them, you had to put bulk orders in for them. They do take a very specific and distinct PCB design, and because the routing boards haven't been shared around too widely, they kind of aren't that popular. People don't really rate the keyboard, and therefore people don't really rate the switches that are in them by default, even though switches are quite good on their own, and in terms of smoothness and feel, they feel fantastic, or certainly the ones I have feel great as well. So I just think it's more in terms of how that board's been implemented and how that board's being run, because it hasn't set the community on fire as an end product. It hasn't set the community on fire with the terms of its capabilities and the kind of technological developments behind it as well. The Gator on optical switch is probably a very similar story. You know, a lot of people in the community haven't even heard of these types of switches. You know, you ask people about optical switches, they don't really know what they are. It's not like a well-known thing within the community, and I think that's part of the problem and part of the challenge. What Kono is doing though is they're really taking this to the next level. They've got the good marketing behind it. They're gonna add in some of the stuff that Brian mentioned around AI and things like that, around how you can control and program the board and how the board can learn from you, which is a new feature that even Wooting doesn't have. And it's probably going to be a stronger foray into the market than what Wooting's been able to mount so far. All it takes is for one company to make one good product for it to change the face of the community, to understand how good these switches are. And you know, with the likes of people like Harter behind these switches, who really knows what they're talking about, that's really going to drive it in the right direction as well. Sometimes the people that are making the decisions for the designs and the engineering behind all of this stuff are just as important as the people that are trying to sell it at the front of the company. So, you know, all things considered, I think this has got a greater chance of influencing the community in terms of, you know, the adoption rate for these particular types of switches. And if it doesn't, well, there will be another board along soon enough that will do. There'll be another product that comes out soon enough that will be that cornerstone flip over point.
And I know earlier, I didn't actually mention it on stream yet, but I know earlier when we were talking about it in the beginning during the topic, 10 Strong was kind of giving us shit because we were making it a really big deal. It's because it is a really big deal. Like, this is not just like another keyboard or whatever. Like, you might not realize it now, but you will as this becomes more mainstream, how big of a deal it is. But with that said, I think the programming behind it, and like you mentioned, like minds like Hata behind it, like actually developing this stuff. Hata is incredibly smart, and he's probably like the best person to design most things in our community, honestly. And I think with his mind behind it, we're gonna get a really, really awesome product. But yeah, the programming aspect of it, I think, is going to be the biggest deal. What you can do with, you know, analog Hall effect sensing switches is going to be more important than necessarily how the switch feels, although I'm sure it'll probably feel very nice and smooth just because it's not the primitive designs that we use now.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question from TechFresh was, he was saying he'll hit us up on some suggestions around how to further the positive community culture. So that's good. Yeah, we'll look forward to getting that feedback from you, dude, and we'll take action where we can. Just scrolling down, Langalandi says, Jay's my hero for pie, and Brian is a savior for confirming cheesecake is pie. So there we go, flexible.
Yeah, it's just one of those silly misnomers. It's kind of like out here. I don't know how it is in the UK, but we have quote unquote German chocolate cake out here, which has like which has no relevance to like anything. But
yeah,
German chocolate cake is not called German chocolate cake because like it's German. It's called German chocolate cake. It's actually wrongly called German chocolate cake because it was started by Germans chocolate. It's supposed to be Germans chocolate cake. And yet everyone out here in America says German chocolate cake, which is incorrect.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Look up the backstory on that. Just go to Wikipedia and type in German's chocolate. Yeah.
All right. I will do. I'll have a look at that. I'll have a look.
Anyways, I can talk about food forever. I gotta stop getting caught up in food questions.
Next question is from CLD SKT. He says, not sure if you guys have talked about this, but thoughts on the Satisfaction 75 drama. So we covered this last week. We talked about it last week. I thought UPass handled it brilliantly. I disagreed with the guy that was trying to sell his spot. I think, Brian, we were broadly on the same page with this one as well. I think it's it was handled in the right way, and I'd like to see more vendors do that.
Yep. It was kind of ridiculous. I feel like flipping a product is already bad enough. Flipping a product that you don't actually possess is really kind of a next level thing that I don't like to see. But yeah, we did talk about that last week. It's wrong. Upas handled it right. There you go. We're moving on with our lives. Frisco Mel asking favorite 60%, I'm assuming, tray mount case or interesting
tray mount.
Okay. So favorite. What are the
probably
what are the more premium options, like the really good
well,
ones?
You've got one of mine probably somewhere near you, the D65.
I'm actually using it right now. This is like one of my break-in boards at the moment. Yeah, so I have Jay's T60 here. Really like this one. This is definitely one of my favorite ones. This is by Zondat over at Noxuary. Or Noxuary? I don't know how to actually say that properly.
Noxuary, yes. Noxuary. Yeah.
It's
not Noxuary.
Noxuary?
Noxuary, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, T60 I think is pretty awesome. It's a little less accessible than a lot of other tray mount cases in the market at the moment, just because it's kind of just gone through very small group buys so far. Things that are more accessible, I would say the Clipe is very, very good. Very high quality 60% case. That's actually gone quite a bit down in price since its original launch, and it's gone through multiple revisions. Looks pretty good now. The Fiel, also by Mechanus. The Clipe is also by Mechanus. Fiel is a little bit more expensive, but it's also a ridiculous amount of metal. It's a very, very heavy tray mount case. A lot of people are into that. It's very, very large, lots of metal, has a very unique sound because of all that metal. So Fiel round 4 happened not too long ago and sold a lot of units.
It did, yeah. I think the other side of it as well, if you want to go to the cheaper end, you can look at things like the Tina and the Tofu range of cases from KBDfans. You'll find some good options in there as well if you prefer, that lower end of the market. Those aren't bad boards. They're very different in design. A lot of the newer designs are tending to go with fewer tray mount points, 4 instead of 6 and things like that, and in different places. So they're all compatible with each other, but they do tend to provide a better feel from that perspective. So you could look at those boards as well if you're looking for something a little bit cheaper. Yep.
Llama Fama asking says last one, sorry. It's fine, you can ask as many questions as you want, man. You're not limited here.
All that, yeah.
He asks, I cannot for the life of me find RGB cherry browns in stock. Any ideas?
KBDfans, right?
I think KBDfans, I think mechanicalkeyboards.com, I think that they used to stock RGB cherry switches. I don't know if they still do. In stock, though, yeah, we'd have to look around. That's not something I've ever actually bought, because I'm not really a big fan of cherry browns, so I'm not really sure where is and where is not sold out at the moment.
Yeah, KBDfans has got them. So Llama Farmer, if you just check, I'm pasting the link into chat now. So there we go.
Cool.
Melodet says you got to grow the mustache out there, Brian. Yeah, my tash is a little bit fuller than yours, dude. You need to
I trim mine a lot because I really don't like when it gets too close to my lip. Like if I'm eating food and I start eating my mustache, that bothers me so much. So I keep mine like really, really trimmed and kind of thin just because of that fact.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think mine's usually trim enough for me to eat. I don't usually get caught with it, but
mine gets really long and mine will like wrap under my lip inside my mouth basically.
Oh right, okay, yeah, I wouldn't like that. Mine
it's not.
I don't let mine get that long. Yeah.
It's not. It's not funny.
I'm not going to answer the next question.
Let's not even read that.
Leading.
It's okay to make innuendos. It totally is, and we'll often play along. It's totally fine. But if it's a little too descriptive and obvious, we'll usually just pass on that. So we're gonna skip that next question.
So it's a 10 strong tags is here, and it said it's not dude, and I'll die by that. I'm not sure what he's referring to. Is this referring to the?
So I think the long story short of it is he doesn't really feel that the Keystone line and or the Silo line of switches is a large enough advancement to warrant it being called quote unquote the future, like we've been calling it.
Right. Okay.
And my stance still is firm that it very much is the future, and whether you like the keyboard or not, it's the technology inside it and the programming behind it and the capabilities and the potential it has to actually work on a hardware, software, and firmware level combined to actually like really push a lot of boundaries that we haven't pushed before. Like it's not just another custom that you're gonna throw, you know, Gateron inks in. That's not gonna do anything different from every other keyboard you own. Like this is actually a different keyboard, and that's what makes it really interesting, even if it's not a you know, high level.
I mean, like with anything, the proof's in the pudding. As soon as we get the boards, we can start to make judgments on how the products turned out and stuff like that. But let's take that.
But obviously, you are absolutely free to have whatever opinion you want. That is awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna have whatever opinion I want, and that's fine too.
Yeah. Just in terms of where you mention the optical switches being available for open order, it's Kale and Gateron. You can order them as you like. Flare Tech and some of the other ones, you can't just buy switches. You have to be certain vendor status and things like that to be able to get, which is what I was referring to earlier. Okay, jumping down the list then. Slippery Pete says, y'all like baked beans. Of course, man. Yeah, I love baked beans.
Absolutely. There's actually a barbecue place about 10 minutes away from my place that does their own baked beans in house, and they use like their pulled pork in them, and it's so good.
Nice.
Dude. It's so good.
I make my own as well. I like to make my baked beans, but when I'm making the tomato based sauce as well, I'll put some garam masala and some spices and make them quite spicy, which is nice.
Yep. Oh my god, we're caught up on questions. Oh my gosh. It finally happened.
Caught up on questions.
Oh, never mind. Frisco Belt comes out with another food question. Favorite kind of bean. Very nice. Favorite kind of bean.
Don't know. I like a lot of different types of beans. I
don't know. I like
fava beans and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
green beans,
fava, black, pinto, lima. I like lima beans a lot.
Is there a bad bean?
I don't know. Cannellini. I like cannellini a lot.
Yeah, human beans.
Whoa, Jay! I'm gonna cut off the stream there. Coffee beans. There you go.
Oh yeah, coffee beans.
Is cocoa? Cocoa is a bean, right?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
It's in a pod, if I'm not mistaken. Cacao. Urban the second asking, can you have too many brass boards? Only if you think you have too many brass boards.
The correct number of boards in any question like this is n+1, where n is the number of boards you have today.
Yes. For me, I would say anything more than one fully brass board is too much for me personally. But I also don't care that much about brass. I think brass is a very overrated material in our community. I think it's good and it's fine and it does a lot of cool things, but it's just not that interesting to me anymore.
Yeah.
So
there are reasons for using it for aesthetical purposes rather than for using it as a necessarily material for the main part of the board, in my opinion. Yes.
All right, we'll finish off with one last question before we take off, because Jay Cozy's got a real question here. Have you guys ever tried the Korean salamander board? If so, thoughts on it? Yeah, actually, Nathan Kim let me borrow and build his quite a while back now, during one of the first run of it. I think it might have been the Korea run before it actually ran in the West. He let me build his, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think it was that good. I think it was fine. It didn't like shout out to me that it was awful, but it was not that interesting. It was a very simple and relatively elegant TKL. It sounded okay. It felt okay. I think I had a couple of really interesting plate materials. I had a PBT plate and a PVC plate. So two plastics that you don't normally see in plates, at least in the Western communities. I don't think I tried the PVC plate. I tried the PBT plate. Same plastic as like the keycaps, for instance, that type of plastic. And I felt it was really meh. I almost didn't even realize it was there. And I used lubed retooled blacks or something, like a benchmark switch that I'm very familiar with. And it wasn't that good. It was all right. I would never actually buy one though. It didn't seem worth the cost to me personally.
Sure. Yeah, I've not tried the salamander at all. But just in terms of plate material, I think the nicest plate that I've tried so far is nylon. I think I'd like to see more nylon plates. So yeah.
Nylon, interesting. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I'll be bringing the profit of with the nylon plate in anyway, so you can have a look at that.
Yep. All right. Why are people still asking questions? Is it because I said we're only going to answer one more question?
Yeah, and then people posted questions. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. Fisco Bell asking, how do you think of bagel mount boards? I haven't tried one yet. What do you think, Jay? You're using one right now.
Well, Burger Mount and Bagel Mount. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Wait,
yeah.
what is Bagel Mount?
I think he just means Burger Mount. I think it's just another way of saying it because technically O-rings have got holes in the middle and burgers don't have holes in the middle traditionally.
All right. From here on out, we're calling it Donut Mount. End of story.
Donut Mount. Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
okay,
Donut Mount.
Pluto19 asking best chicken nugget dipping sauce. Oh boy, best chicken nugget dipping sauce.
So you got to keep it simple on this.
Do you?
Yeah, I think you've got to keep it simple, and a good spicy ketchup is where it's at for me.
Spicy ketchup for your chicken nuggets. Okay. I don't eat very many chicken nuggets.
Neither do I, to be fair, but
I probably eat like less than 20 chicken nuggets a year. Across like all platforms. I don't know. I've just never really been a chicken nugget kind of guy. I don't know what my favorite dipping sauce would be. I'm pretty impartial. I like honey mustard. I like barbecue. I'm okay with stuff like sweet and sour.
Yeah.
McDonald's sweet and sour is probably going to be my favorite because it's like really awful and really fake, but I just love to eat it, just like everything else at McDonald's.
Yeah. So yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I am going to say something now because I'm getting called out here. The mustard that you have in honey mustard in America is not proper mustard. It doesn't taste of mustard. It does like proper traditional British English mustard is very, very strong stuff. Like literally like a spot of it is enough to set your mouth really, really going strong, and it's really strong stuff. The stuff in America that you call mustard that you put on hot dogs and you put honey in and you put as a dipping sauce, that's not mustard. I'm sorry, but it's not mustard.
No,
you can call it what you want, but it's not mustard.
Honey mustard is not mustard. Mustard is mustard. Honey mustard is a hybrid.
The mustard in honey mustard isn't mustard. It's
still
very
made
much
with
watered down.
It's a different style of mustard. Yes, it is not the mustard you're used to. Just as your mustard is not the same mustard I am used to. But they're still made from mustard seeds. So get off it. Get off your high horse, Jay. I'm not saying it's. I actually don't like yellow mustard like very much at all. Like the yellow American mustard that you're probably thinking of, at least. I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer most European mustards, stone ground mustards, or whole seed mustards. Basically, I don't really care about actual yellow mustard. Dijon also fine, but yeah, mustard. It's Undone says bring mustard to Seattle. Bring mustard to PJ.
We've said that. We've said so much mustard now. Mustard doesn't actually sound like a word to me anymore. I've lost that. I've disassociated in my head. Yeah. What you guys have over in the States is just a yellow sauce to me. It's not mustard.
Oh, it is. It is indeed a sauce, and it is yellow. You're not wrong. Nebulon says, "Don't generalize. We do have good mustard around here, just not at fast food places." That's true.
Yeah.
That's true
so you're not gonna have good mustard at the places where you're buying chicken nuggets, then, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, you get honey mustard from, like, a fast food place, like, it's not gonna be good. It's just, it's like everything else at McDonald's. Like, you know it's low quality, you know it's not good food, but you still eat it. And you secretly like it.
And you don't want to, you hate yourself for liking it.
You hate, yeah, absolutely, yes. You do not feel like a good human being, but you like it. All right, we've talked about food way too much this episode, so I figured we'd be dropping viewers faster than this at this point, but we'll call it on that, guys. So we're gonna wrap up for the day. It's enough food talk. We're coming up on 3 hours here anyway of live time, so now's a good time to call it quits.
Sleep. I've got a meeting at 7:30. I've got to be up.
I gotta go tuck Jay into bed. Give him a good night kiss on the forehead there.
It's nearly 5 a.m. here.
Sprinkle some yellow mustard on him and call it a night. Anyways, we're going to head out for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as we did. Check below the stream. You can find our YouTube channel, our official Discord, among many other things. A couple new changes in Discord. We actually do have somewhat of a schedule now in the info and sponsors channel. I'm going to work on that schedule a little bit more. We have a few things already kind of going on. So make sure to check out on that. And we also added an other creators channel. So again, Top Clack likes to kind of promote the positivity in our community. We know there's lots of other people doing streams and videos and stuff like that. We want a specific channel where people can post that particular content so other people can see it and so they can maybe grow a little bit more. So make sure to check out that channel as well. That's going to be used a little bit more in the coming days.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll be back on Sunday doing a 19x build from KBDfans for a friend. And then after that, the next show will be next Wednesday when I will be with Brian in Seattle, and we'll have two of us on the same camera feed potentially, if we can get the setup just right. And then after that, if anyone else is going to be in Seattle at the meetup, I hope I get to see you there. Please come and say hi. I'd love to meet you.
Yep. Absolutely. I will actually probably have a build stream tomorrow. So,
oh, excellent.
Yeah, I'll put that in the Discord announcements when I'm going live. It'll either be 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Pacific time. One of those two.
What you building?
An ISO build for myself.
Excellent.
For myself, Jay. How do you feel about that?
I like it. I like it.
So,
what bodybuilding?
It's just going to be a clipe. I got a silver clipe that this is a round one that he sent me for free like years ago, back when 1UP stocked them when it first came out. Sure. But it as you can see, it has no build inside of it. It's just the case. So I'm going to rectify that, and I'm going to put a build inside of it. And I happen to have a ISO friendly brass plate. I'm not sure what switches I'm going to put in here yet, but I felt in honor of Leandrin, I felt like doing kind of an ISO build because some of you might know I actually hung out with Leandrin last Saturday. He was in Seattle for some family stuff, and he came over to my side of the water, and we hung out for like half the day and went out and got some food and chatted a lot. Great guy, by the way. Really, really good time with him. So I felt like in honor of that, I would maybe try a little ISO in my life. So we'll build that up. No idea what switches or key set I'm going to put on it yet, but I have lots to choose from.
Nothing to do with me, and nothing to do with our new logo or anything else.
No,
I see how it is.
Unlike you, Jay, Leandrin is actually a very nice and proper non-American. So
wow,
I guess I can't.
Wow, it is not too late for me to cancel my flights, mate.
Yeah, good stuff. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the stream. Tomorrow, build stream by me. Sunday, build stream with Jay as usual. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. And if you have a picture for the server banner and you're a subscriber on Twitch, make sure to go to our Discord and go to the purple chat and tag me in the picture that you would like to see in the server banner, and I will add it to the queue list. Bam. There you go. Love you guys. Have a good night.
Cool. See you later.